Welcome to Violent Vinyl Radio, where we break down the best hair metal albums from the 80s and the 90s. So grab that volume up, crank it up, and enjoy the show.
Live from the VBR studios in downtown Boston, it's showtime. Welcome to Violent Vinyl Radio. I'm your host, Des, and as always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts. First up, the podcaster that makes more money doing sound than he does playing his guitar, Dangerous Dave.
Hey.
Did you like that? That was right off the fly.
Nice.
And last but not least, the podcaster who's sick as a dog, Lisa.
Hi, guys.
All right.
I have the deep, raspy voice today.
Woo!
Alison Steele, the night bird.
As always, the mission of this show is for us to introduce each other and you, the listeners, to albums and bands which you may never have heard before, while also discussing the classics. So sit back and enjoy the show. Dave, tell our fine listeners where they can find this podcast.
We are available on most podcast outlets. Also check us out on YouTube. Give us a listen, tell a friend, like, subscribe, and share. You can find us on our social medias at Instagram at VVR Podcast Insta and on Facebook at Violent Vinyl Podcast.
Right. So if your grandma's on Facebook, let her know that she can find the show there. Okay, it is time to hit the mail bag. Okay, so my investigation skills are now in question as it appears I am no Columbo. Our mystery listener wrote in to let us know he is not Seamus. His name is actually...
Seamus.
Oh, why can't I get that right? Holy shit.
Seamus.
His name is actually Alex. So mystery solved. And Alex, welcome to the show.
Hey, Alex.
Next, Jay wrote in that he actually changed his mind on Back Alley Sally after going and checking out Waste My Time and Candy Cane. He thought that I just picked the wrong song. So there you go.
Did. Candy Cane was a much better song.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the other one is actually my favorite song when he's screaming into the phone. But whatever, enough Back Alley Sally. They're not paying our fucking bills, so we can't talk about them anymore. Tonight, we will be discussing Cocked and Loaded, the second studio album by the great LA Guns, produced by Dwayne Barron, John Purdell, and Tom Werman. Released on August 22nd of 1989 on Vertigo Records. The album peaked at the number 38 spot on the U.S. Billboard 200. I would have to think that's probably because of Never Enough. That was a big video and a big song. The band's lineup was as follows. Phil Lewis on lead vocals. The great Tracy Guns on electric, acoustic, and 12-string guitars and electric choral sitar. Mick Rips on electric and acoustic guitars, piano, and backing vocals. Kelly Nichols, bass, harmonica, backing vocals. And Steve Riley from my home city of Boston, Massachusetts, down the Revere Beach Way on drums and percussion. Lisa, he did play on this album, correct?
He did, yes.
Oh, man, the drums are so fucking good. Steve Riley. Ooh, he's a good player, man. Good player. Better than I remembered. I love the first LA Guns album. Obviously, it's their best album, in my opinion. Different drummer there. The drums definitely are better on this album. Steve Riley, I think a little underrated, but we're going to get into that. Yes?
So before we start, you guys did the first LA Guns album.
We did.
In the previous Incantation. Did you go back and look at what your scores were?
I did not.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, here we go. Des, you gave the first album a very fair 95.1.
Oh, okay.
Dave gave the first album an 83.
Boo, boo.
I am questioning whether I want to know him anymore.
Yeah.
I like this one better.
Oh, no.
And,
Yes.
and Ed and Fee were in the mid 40s, that show should be
Lame.
wiped from the earth.
That is why Ed and Fee are no longer on the podcast.
That is I know everything is an opinion here and it's a review, but they're just wrong.
Yeah, they're just wrong.
They're just wrong.
I mean, I think we figured out on the Mr. Big episode that they had no taste for music.
Yeah,
so
Foo
there you go.
Fighters, Firehouse. Yeah, no.
Yeah, none of that shit. Hoobastank. No, thank you.
Yeah, no.
Actually, hearing my score, I'm a little ashamed because I went back and listened to that album too. After listening to this album, and I think that might be very close to a 100-watt album. It's
Well,
fucking-
you actually said in the podcast that you had scored it higher, but the guys convinced you to drop your score down a little bit. So I
again,
believe, yes.
why they're not on the show anymore. Okay, awesome. So let's see. We do our band facts now before our opening thoughts. We do.
Sure.
Okay, let's keep doing it. Dave, talk about LA Guns and why you gave the first album in 84.
83.
83. Oh, God. You're fucking
Hey,
lucky you're still on the show.
The production was a little rough on that first album. It's great material, but so here we go. According to Wikipedia, LA Guns has had at least 40 people in it from its very
Wow.
beginning
That's
in
a lot.
1983 up until today.
It's like an orchestra.
Yes. Some of the more notable people outside of the classic lineup who have been in the band include Axl Rose, Ralph Saenz, a.k.a. Michael Starr of Steel Panther, Jizzy Pearl, former singer of Love Hate and current singer of Quiet Riot, Chuck Garrick, current bassist with the Alice Cooper Band, Chad Stewart, drummer of Faster Pussycat, and Danny Nordahl, bassist of the Throbs and currently the bassist of Faster Pussycat.
Love Danny. Hilarious
Yep.
guy. Yep.
Slim Tender.
Mm-hmm. Spent hours with him before one of the Faster Pussycat shows. We were dying laughing. Almost peed myself laughing. He is so funny.
And Dave shared a nice story about hanging out with Sweetheart, correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we
Yes.
stayed at his house one night.
Yes, we did Throbs on the bonus track album, and Dave told a big story, but I am going to pick that Throbs album eventually. And Dave, you can tell the story again for those who missed it when we do that.
Sounds good.
Okay, keep going.
Next fact. According to the 2012 reissue booklet of this album on Rock Candy Records, Cocked and Loaded features guest appearances by Ted Nugent, Derek St. Holmes, Robin Zander, and Rick Nielsen. From what I can find, it looks like the Cheap Trick guys sang backups on Never Enough, but I wasn't able to find full information on these guest appearances and exactly what they did.
Nice. Fucking that chorus is, and I'm going to get to it, but oh my
Oh, yeah.
God.
So the awesome cover art featuring a lady riding a shiny chrome revolver was created by artist Maxine Miller. From her website, Maxine is a celebrated artist whose work centers around the Celtic and pagan cultures. She's done several other LA Guns album covers, including Hollywood Vampires, Man in the Moon, and Waking the Dead, as well as several of their single and EP releases.
Dave,
Yes.
I feel like I've seen this album cover before. I remember having a shirt back in the day from a band called Black Cherry with Paul Black, who was the singer, who also played in LA Guns. And this album cover, well, this shirt that I had, and it wasn't an album cover, had a cherry with the stem coming out and the woman riding the cherry holding the stem.
No
So
kidding.
very similar. Very similar. Sorry, keep going.
So according to Maxine's profile on Discogs.com, she also created demon art for the hit TV series Angel and has created images for everybody from Cher to Madonna to Bon Jovi. Her work can be seen on Instagram at MaxineMiller999 or at MaxineMillerStudios.com. Some very cool stuff. I was browsing there. I may have to pick up some t-shirts or something.
Nice.
Cocked and Loaded is the recording debut of drummer Steve Riley with this band. On LA Guns' first album, the drums were performed by their former drummer, Nikki Beat Alexander. Steve joined shortly after that record was recorded, and he's originally, as we said, from Revere, Massachusetts.
Revere.
Yeah.
I lived down there with Marie Arnold.
And,
Very.
Steve was previously in Keel and Wasp. Unfortunately, he passed in 2023 after a severe case of pneumonia.
Mm.
Nicky Beat would play guest drums on a song for LA Guns' 1994 Vicious Circle album, and later in Tracy's version of LA Guns when there was 2 simultaneous versions of LA Guns out on tour. That was Tracy's version, and then I believe Phil and Steve's version.
Mhm.
Nicky also played drums for the Cramps in the early 90s.
Cool.
According to Wikipedia, Cocked and Loaded peaked at number 38 on the Billboard 200, while the single The Ballad of Jane peaked at number 25 and 33 on the Mainstream Rock Chart and the Billboard Hot 100, respectively. The album went on to become RIAA certified gold in 1990 and then eventually platinum.
Yeah.
Music videos for all 5 singles off the album were featured on the 1990 home video Love, Peace, and Geese.
Interesting.
Yeah, I have that.
Do you?
Yeah, I found it in the cutout bin in Strawberries in downtown Boston one day when I was down there. And this was probably in 1993.
Dave, do you love the movie High Fidelity with fucking John fucking Cusack?
I do.
I know you do, because I can imagine you like rearranging your record collection by like, like not by date. No, never.
Yeah, that one kind of I watched it and I was like, hey, maybe I should have a record store.
You should have a record store. Interesting, because I was going to say, so I was watching that movie, why I brought it up just the other day, and they actually reference Vintage Vinyl Records, because you'll remember his little buddy there says, oh, I found it at Vintage Vinyl Records.
Uh-huh.
So I'm wondering if it was like, if that was just a name that they made up, or if they were actually referencing the Vintage Vinyl Records from New Jersey.
Forks, New Jersey. Yeah, you never know.
Okay.
And finally, the band has remade this album more than once. In addition to the original studio recording, there is Cocked and Reloaded Millennium Edition from Deadline Music, released in 2000, where they just re-recorded the album. And also Cocked and Loaded Live from Frontiers Music, released in 2021. Both I do not like as much as the original. However, I have all 3.
Holy shit. Is that it? Is that what you got?
That's what I got.
I like it. I like it a lot. Lisa.
Okay, sit back and hold on.
Oh, shit. Uh-oh.
This was a hard one to do because there's so many versions of the band. It's hard to trace who's in the band at any given time. And like sometimes there's 2 versions of the band and they're both putting out albums. It's very confusing to like follow the timeline of this band. So make that statement. So the album was released in '89, the sweet spot for a second album for a glam band. They already had the first album under their belt. Yeah, it was a great year. They were doing lots of touring with some of the biggest names. It really was kind of the top of the top for this style of music. This also means that there were a lot of monster hits kind of vying for radio time, MTV time, and attention and tour money and everything else. So it was a competitive time as well. Power ballads were king, but they still were unable to take over the top of the pop charts. Poison's Every Rose Has Its Thorns sat at number 3 in the year's top 100, and Warrant's Heaven was at number 15. Bon Jovi had 3 slots in the top 100. They were all power ballads. I'll Be There For You, Born to Be My Baby, and Is Lay Your Hands on Me? No, that's not really a power ballad, but that's more like a rock song. But that was in there too. Guns N' Roses also had 3 slots with Patience, Welcome to the Jungle, and Paradise City. 2 of those songs from 1987, still charting in '89.
It's still charting today.
Yeah.
So good.
Yep. Def Leppard's Armageddon and Skid Row's 18 in Life also showed up on the charts, as well as Alice Cooper's Poison. On the album charts, only one glam album ever hit number 1 the entire year, and that was 1 week in February for Appetite for Destruction that was released 2 years earlier.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Lots of glam albums did chart below number one that year, with obviously with Bon Jovi's New Jersey, Poison's Open Up and Say Ah, Guns N' Roses' Lies, and Def Leppard's Hysteria. Skid Row's debut album as well was still charting. But overall, pop still ruled the charts. Really, you only saw power ballads, other than that one Bon Jovi song and some Guns N' Roses song, showing
Wait.
any success.
Lisa, but this was kind of the last hurrah, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
it feels like the record labels all kind of knew what they were going to do. They were going to pull the rug on hair metal,
Yeah.
and they wanted to just get all their investment money back. So they
Yeah.
pushed everybody, they pushed everything. Everybody went to number one. Everybody got their hit. Every album sold. And then, like, a year and a half later, it was a desert.
Yeah.
These guys were all
done.
like done.
Yeah, wrapped up and put away, basically.
Yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of squeezed for everything that they had and just kind
Yep.
of left behind. And truly, like, yeah.
But it shows you the power of these labels. I mean, they
Mhm.
had investments, and they had said that, without Appetite for Destruction, really none of this is going to happen. Like, Appetite saved this for another couple of years.
Mm.
They were ready to drop the axe.
Yeah.
And then Appetite came out, and it was undeniable. And Appetite definitely changed the face of hair metal. I mean, the glam thing was gone. All the Janie Lanes, all these guys took off the spandex, put on the denim, put on the leather. Even Motley Crue tried to fucking biker it up a little bit.
Yep.
It was too late. But
Yeah.
it just shows the power of the labels. I mean, they forced 1989 to be a big year. They were
Yeah.
going to squeeze the lemon.
And I think some of the success of Guns N' Roses' Appetite was maybe that it wasn't purely glam.
Oh,
it
totally.
it was rock. It was edgier. It was darker, harder.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
totally.
More dangerous.
more dangerous.
Cowboy
Yeah.
boots for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had them.
I had them. You get your Justin cowboy boots. You get the big silver tips that go on the fronts,
Mhm.
and you get your killer's fucking spurs, and you're good to go. You're good to go.
Rolling Stone magazine named Cocked and Loaded the 27th best hair metal album of all time. I think that's a little too low on that chart, honestly. But they did praise the variety of material, and so did a lot of the critics of the time. So
Yeah.
we have 3 talented producers on this album, and I think that made such a huge difference for this. We had Dwayne Barron, who's an engineer and producer, who previously had worked with Dream Theater, Crocus, Motley Crue on Theater and Girls. He was actually an engineer on that, not a producer. Motorhead, Ozzy, Poison, Kix, Alice Cooper, and Wasp. We had John Purdell, who was a producer and keyboardist, produced for Poison, Dream Theater, Kix, Alice Cooper, Cinderella, Heart, all sorts of other bands. He was also a keyboard player and singer for artists like Rick Springfield, Quiet Riot, Lou Gramm Band, Cinderella, and Foreigner.
Love Rick
he-
Springfield.
Yeah. He did pass in 2003 while on tour with Foreigner. He was rushed to the hospital before a show in Quebec City. He had been diagnosed with prostate cancer a few months before and had been flying home to Vegas for treatments twice a week during the tour. But the cancer had already metastasized and spread through his body. Very sad. Yeah.
Thanks.
We also had Tom Worman, a Boston guy growing up in Newton, Massachusetts. He became an A&R rep for Epic Records in his younger years. His discoveries included Boston, Cheap Trick, REO Speedwagon, and Ted Nugent. He produced 23 gold and platinum albums, including Blue Oyster Cult, Molly Hatchet, Motley Crue, Twisted Sister, Stryper, Kix, and Poison, as well as Ellie Guns, obviously. He, in addition to key recordings by Dawkins, Glass Tiger, Crocus, Lita Ford, and the producers. This is kind of neat because he's like a local guy. In 2002, he and his wife opened the Stonover Farm luxury bed and breakfast in Lenox, Massachusetts.
Mhm.
In 2021, they did sell that, but the inn, I'll call it an inn, a bed and breakfast. It's kind of bigger than that. It's like an event area. Is still open. It's gorgeous, and you can find it at stonoverfarm.com with new owners.
It's cool.
Yeah. So tell me that this producer list isn't one of the best that we've seen as far as who they had worked with before. They weren't taking guys who had only had experience with like earlier 70s acts or the wrong type of music. These were guys that had their hands in the right type of music around the right time. And it's just, I think it worked out perfectly.
No, it shows. The album is fucking pro as it gets. It sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. The band has had its fair share of controversy and membership changes over the years. It's incredibly difficult to go into how many infighting, personal fights, personal relationship breakups, switching members and things. You know, we've got LA Guns, we've got Guns N' Roses, we've got Hollywood Rose, we've got Faster Pussycat, and all of these bands kind of trading members back and forth and people fighting and hating on each other. But even though the guys have kind of fought with each other over the years, they all seem to respect each other as musicians, and they seem to be able to come back together here and there to make some music. But we'll talk about the original guys to see how that's working out. The problem with LA Guns is when you go and you search on information about them. Now, keep in mind, we're in the world of AI now, right? So if you ask a question of a search engine and you go, tell me about LA Guns, you're going to get all sorts of crazy information, and you really have to sift through like what's correct and what isn't, right?
Back in the 80s in Compton, guns
Yeah.
were used in LA to
Yeah.
kill people.
Right? So, I mean, it's very confusing because when AI gives you an answer, it's the loudest voice, not the most correct voice. So you have to be really careful following the history of this band and where it was at each moment and things like that. So, speaking of albums and all of that, they released LA Guns released a new album, Leopard Skin, on April 4th of this year, along with a video for the song Taste It, which I will talk a little bit more kind of at the end of this podcast. But spoiler alert, in case you don't make it to the end of the podcast, you need to go out and buy this album. Go to the band's website, lagunsmusic.com, where you can also get some great merch, such as old style t-shirts, stickers, tote bags, pajamas, posters, even socks.
Pajamas?
Pajamas, yes.
Do they have
LA Guns-
footies?
no footies. It's
Oh.
like pajama pants. They're
Okay.
they're cool though.
Okay.
And socks. Buy this album from your favorite streaming site. Stream it on your favorite streaming site. The resurgence of this genre has brought some great music over the past, we'll call it 5 years, with Vane's new music and Skid Row's new music. But this one is the top of the heap. You have to go listen to it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Okay, Phil Lewis, let's begin.
Hey, how come you didn't mention Sebastian Bach's new songs?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. Keep going.
You know why.
I do.
So Phil Lewis, born and raised in London, England, educated in Surrey. He's considered a member of LA Guns' classic lineup, despite not being the original singer of the band. He's kind of the memorable voice of the band, and it almost feels strange when you hear a lineup of LA Guns without his voice on it. He founded the band Girl in 1978 with Phil Collen of Def Leppard. They got a record deal with Jet Records, thanks in part to Lewis's girlfriend / fiance at the time, Swedish actress Britt Eklund. She was a Bond girl, and has tons of TV and reality show appearances under her belt, including Wicker Man, Fantasy Island, Love Boat, Absolutely Fabulous, and so many more, even as recently as 2020's Jeepers Creepers. She was married to actor Peter Sellers, and her relationship with Rod Stewart, which spawned a couple of his songs, attracted considerable press attention, making her one of the world's most photographed celebrities during the 70s. In 1984, at age 42, she married Stray Cats drummer Slim Jim Phantom.
Cool.
Yeah. Lewis later joined forces with guitarist Rudy Rivera, bassist Dave Birch, and drummer Paul Edwards to start the band New Torpedoes. They released only a demo tape. Lewis left New Torpedoes to join the band Torme with guitarist Bernie Torme. They signed a record deal with Zebra Records and released Back to Babylon in 1986 and Die Pretty, Die Young in 1987. Lewis joined LA Guns in 1987, right before their record deal with Polygram was signed. Really good timing there for him. He would provide their distinctive vocal styling that is very beautiful and very hard to recreate. It is very hard to get a cover band to really do an LA Guns song right. He claims he and Tracy were extremely close friends, not just bandmates, not just co-workers at the beginning, but things did fall apart. Phil felt that Tracy wanted the band to go in a heavier direction, more like Slayer and Motorhead. He was also more concerned with things like money and fame than he was about kind of the music, while Phil preferred the sound that they had, and it just kind of fell apart, whether it was musical differences or what the band should be focusing on. Everything just kind of went to crap. There was also a lot of pressure from the business. Now, Des, as you mentioned in the beginning of this, the record labels had a lot of power in here. It was less about the music and more about who they decided they were going to promote.
Yep.
Yeah. You were kind of being fit into a box to reach the multi-platinum Cinderella or Bon Jovi format. But LA Guns weren't like any of these bands. They had their own sound that was completely unique. Thankfully, they did not cow to that pressure and try to become these other bands. They stayed true to themselves. Tracy did kind of at times want to follow the big business, direction, bigger, better. And eventually Phil and Tracy couldn't even be in the same room as each other.
That's crazy.
Even if they were recording for different bands in the same studio, they had to be kept separated.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's sad.
Well, they're getting along good now.
They are, yep, thankfully. He did leave the band in 1995, and there's some controversy about what year he left the band, whether it was 92 or 95. I'm just going to keep talking here, but keep that in mind. This was after their delayed album release, Vicious Circle, in 1994. He also has said in interviews, as I said, that he left in 92, but he certainly didn't rest. He continued to create music and do some other interesting things. He had a band, Filthy Lucre. I'm sorry, I don't know
Filthy
if I was.
Lucre.
Filthy Lucre. Thank you.
Good album.
Yep.
Yeah.
With Steve Dior and the Liberators from London Cowboys. London Cowboys over time featured some guys from New York Dolls, The Clash and the Sex Pistols. So that's a interesting connection there. He held various other jobs during this hiatus, including producing other albums for artists, mixing audio for Fox Sports, which I am fascinated by.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And didn't even know before this podcast.
Wow.
Hey, job's a job.
And he even worked as a telephone psychic.
Oh, stop it.
Yep.
I want to do that. How do I get a job doing that?
So I did find him speaking about his job at Fox Sports. So after the band was over, he says he was really happy to work with Fox Sports when he took up a break from the band kind of in disgust after 1992. With the music business kind of being in chaos and grunge coming in, he needed to find something different. So he took a night course and he learned this new tool that was being used by a lot of these television stations to mix audio. He lied on his resume and said that he'd worked for companies like the BBC. Didn't tell them at all that he was a famous musician, but he really learned the tool that he needed to learn for the job. He became very good at it. He worked for Fox for a while. He got lots of promotions. He was really happy at the job. But eventually they did figure out who he was. So his drummer he was playing music on weekends with, some pickup bands and stuff like that. So his drummer had a flyer that they were going to share. Send out for one of the weekend gigs. So Phil said to him, "Oh, just fax it to me at work." Right. So he missed the fax and he went home that night. Well, someone in the office picked up the fax, figured out who he was, and then changed all the screens in the building to an old photo of him all glammed up with like spiked hair and makeup and all of that. So when he came in the next morning, the entire building was filled of pictures of him from way back in the
That's
day.
fucking
So,
awesome. I love
beautiful.
that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. He eventually was promoted to having his own studio at Fox Sports. He did this for about 5 years before LA Guns came back together. So as we said, Tracy and Phil obviously did eventually find their way back to each other, working everything out and starting to write again. It did fall apart a few more times. Phil felt that it was selfish that Tracy wanted to leave and be in a band with Nikki Sixx while they were already recording material for an LA Guns album. And this seemed to be the pattern with Tracy, always chasing what he thought was going to be the big money maker and the next big thing, and not really staying true and loyal to whatever he was doing at the time. He says that he and Tracy have both grown a lot since back in the day and have been able to work out their friendship many, many times over, and that they are truly friends again, but their relationship is always growing and changing. He cites a lot of other bands that have members with issues that still make amazing music. Steven Tyler and Joe Perry, who at one time would only communicate through their roadies.
That's crazy.
Mick and Keith. Roger Daltrey and Pete Townsend, and other rock couples that had to work through issues. We're talking about a long time of relationship here. What's it been, 35 years, something like
At
that.
least.
Yeah, relationships change and people change. And when you're a creative person, your focus can kind of be in different places, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So, as much as fans have kind of gotten angry over the situations, Phil and Tracy have always been able to kind of make music together or on their own, and that's kind of worked out for the fans. We've gotten a lot of different versions of them over the years, and for us, we should consider it a benefit, not be angry at anyone for breaking things up. So, when he speaks about playing with LA Guns now they have a lot of records under their belt. It's very tricky. This is what he says. It's very tricky because sometimes we barely get 60 minutes on stage. Other times we get longer and we can be up there like 90 minutes. And that's when we can do more new stuff. We like to pepper the new stuff in with the old, but we've got to pay the bills. We can't not do Electric Gypsy, Sex Action, and Never Enough. These are staples that I think people would be pretty upset about if we didn't do them. So it's always a juggling act, and it's only going to get harder now that these new records, what we're going to pick while we're on stage. So he also commented on the band, not his band, but bands in general, use of backing tracks. He says, "Oh no, I don't think for us it's come to that point, anywhere near that point. I'll be honest, the early stuff, I didn't vocally set the bar that high." And I don't agree with that because he did have some clear high notes there. He
Yes.
said, "It's just like if you listen to the end of Bon Jovi doing Runaway, there's a helium voice. It's squeaking up there. I would never do that because at some point you got to go out live and do it. So I would never do anything that I can't do live. There are some nights, my God, that I would love to just have the safety net of it, but that's not what we're all about." And having seen them live, as much as I have, I can attest that they do play live.
I have no problem with a band piping in some backing tracks. Like if I'm going to listen to It's Never Enough, I want to hear the fucking hook. I just do. I don't care. Just give me some Milli Vanilli.
I don't mind them filling it out. And I think there was a time Dave and I saw Steel Panther, and I kept saying to him, how does Satchel get that sound? It's so full, and he's one. There's not two guitars in the band. He's one guy, but it always sounds like there's 15 guitars playing. And Dave just looked at me like I was a frickin' idiot, and he's like, "They're using backup tracks." And I'm looking around, and I'm like, "Are you sure?" And
Yeah, it's on a
of course
laptop.
they are, but like I'm dumb and I don't get it. So
You're not
yeah.
dumb.
Yeah, everybody's got their laptop with all their freaking their shit.
I mean,
and
they do it good though. Like
Great.
it doesn't hurt the
Nope,
performance.
I
So,
prefer it. That line he's talking about in that Bon Jovi song,
Yeah.
I was in my car, I heard it the other day. He's not even singing the words. He's just
Yeah.
going, it's fucking,
Yeah.
it's good though. It's cool.
Yeah. Yep. And last but not least, of course, Phil is still playing today with LA Guns. He also does some acoustic work. We recently saw him play with Ace Von Johnson doing a completely acoustic tour, where he also played with Roger, friend to the show, from All Sinners as the drummer. I didn't know this, and I don't think Dave knows this either, but at that acoustic set that we were at in Salem, All Sinners also had an acoustic set before. Remember, like the
Yeah,
yeah,
we
okay.
watched it.
All right. They recorded that, and they have released that recording at Kodo Salem, Mass as an album, and they're selling it. I didn't know that.
Oh,
All
nice.
Sinners, yeah. Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So let's move on to Tracy. Controversial guy in this industry, but in my opinion, and that my opinion is just my opinion, it might mean nothing, I think he's one of the most underrated guitarists in the time period of the late 80s and
I
early
agree.
90s. Yeah.
I agree. 100%.
You never hear him named with the big of that time, and he deserves a top slot.
Especially that first album.
Yep. He was just 6 years old when he first learned to play. When he first listened to legendary Jimmy Page, while traveling with his mother in the car. He was influenced by Page's style of playing, and later was taught to play the guitar by his uncle Ron Ulrich. Ulrich being part of their family name, I wonder if there's a connection
Maybe.
to Metallica.
To Lars?
Yeah,
maybe.
I
I don't
doubt
know.
it.
I
I
didn't.
mean,
I didn't
Lars
look
is
into it,
from,
but
yeah.
Dude, anytime you're at an LA Gun show, does the crowd always like they sing that solo, right? Da 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 da
Yeah.
da 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 da. Everybody's doing it, playing
Yeah.
air guitar. Come on, Tracy
Yeah.
Guns wrote some great fucking solos.
He did. Yeah. He's a founding member, not only of LA Guns, and also as part of the classic lineup of LA Guns. He's also the founding member of Guns N' Roses,
Hmm.
two of the biggest bands of the era, as well as many other bands, including Brides of Destruction and Contraband.
I feel like he should be richer.
I know, like he created like the foundation of kind of the music of that time.
Yeah, I googled once like how much he was worth. I think it came up like $500,000 or something like that. I was like,
It should be a
no,
lot more.
he should be worth
Yeah.
like $500 million.
Yeah, he was an amazing guy. So,
Oh boy.
he was so the timeline is so strange here, right? So, I think they formed LA Guns first. Is that how it was? And
yeah,
then
he was in LA Guns with Axl.
for like a minute,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
then
yeah.
he left, and like formed Guns N' Roses, and he was in that for like a minute, and then he left, and like it's just wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they changed the Guns N' Roses, and then they took, like he took the LA Guns name back. He,
Yeah.
decided to go do that.
Yeah.
They're
when,
like, all right, you keep LA Guns and we'll take Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, right. So
Good deal.
yeah, so that was 1983 when LA Guns formed. So that was pretty early in the time frame.
Yep.
And the lineup was completely different, right? They had singer Mike, I don't want to try to say his last name, Jagosh.
Mike Jagoff?
No. Bassist Ole Beich.
Okay, I don't know.
Drummer Rob Gardner. And with this lineup, the band did release something. They released an EP called Collector's Edition #1, and it's the only release with this early original. I don't want to call it classic lineup, but original lineup. The singer was arrested, singer Mike Jagosh, and replaced by Bill Rose, who would become Axl Rose.
Bill? Hey, Bill.
Yeah, into LA Guns. He was coming out of his previous band, Hollywood Rose. So all these bands with Rose and Guns in their
Roses
names.
and Guns. And...
Yep. But Axl's stint in LA Guns would only last a few weeks. Tracy and Axl would leave to reform this kind of like this new lineup of Hollywood Rose with Izzy Stradlin, and then the bands would merge together and become Guns N' Roses, and then fall apart again. So he left. Tracy Guns left shortly after an argument with Axl Rose, claiming it wasn't fun anymore. After that, we finally get our classic lineup of Guns N' Roses and of LA Guns kind of coming together at the same time, with Guns N' Roses finding Steve Adler and Duff McKagan. And they would become one of the most wildly successful yet controversy-packed bands, releasing, we'll call it 5 albums. One was a double album, one was an EP, until their last album, Chinese Democracy, which is reportedly the most expensive album ever made.
Doesn't sound it.
And that came out in 2008. It started recording in 1993. So the time frame between 93 and 08, craziness. In today's money, the album cost $22 million to produce. They actually recorded 50 songs, most of which were scrapped. Debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and was certified platinum and basically critically well received, by critics, but fans didn't receive it very well. And honestly, some of them were just sick of the band's antics and missed shows and late performances and all of that.
Yeah, it's caca.
In 85, when Tracy returned to LA Guns, we had former Dogs D'Amour singer Robert Stoddard as the
Second
new
guitar.
guitarist, in the group. And we had Nikki Alexander on drums and Mick Cripps on bass. So the classic lineup within that year switched around. They found Phil Lewis, thankfully.
Paul Black was the original singer.
Yep. Kelly Nichols taking on the bass role. And this would be the lineup until 1992 when everything, and I don't mean just LA Guns fell apart, but the entire glam situation fell apart and everything kind of crashed and burned. The word is Phil Lewis fired drummer Steve Riley in 92. After touring with Skid Row in support of Hollywood Vampires, Riley did later return. And then eventually Lewis and Riley together left the band. So very confusing. Tracy would leave LA Guns in 2002 and form Brides of Destruction with Nikki Sixx, a very successful band on its own. They had the Lynch Mob singer, London LeGrand, and drummer Scott Cogan who currently plays in Ace Frehley's band, I think. Yeah.
Maybe at one point. I'm not sure
Mm.
if it's him or Matt Starr playing with Ace right now. But
the album Here Comes the Brides charted at 92 in Billboard in 2004, and it was the first album featuring Tracy Guns to chart since Hollywood Vampires in 92. So 12-year stint between charting albums. In 1999, Gunn played a show in Hollywood, California with former Guns N' Roses guitarist Gilby Clarke, who...
That's what I do.
Looking at?
That's what I do while you talk. I draw like, little pictures of Tracy Guns and his
Nice.
PC Rich Warlock.
That's awesome. Yeah.
we're having art time here.
I
Yeah.
do this every time.
You need to post those. Those are great.
Ah.
Yeah. In 99, Tracy released his debut album Killing Machine. Now here's the weird thing. The album is called Killing Machine. It's kind of like a solo album, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when he speaks about this, he actually says, I had a band named Killing Machine, but I've never seen a band.
Yeah, I think he was referring to
The band that he played with. Yeah.
project as, the band name Killing Machine. But
Yeah. But it's the album.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. In 2000,
very heavy.
Yeah, very, very heavy. And to be fair, Phil was complaining that Tracy wanted to go in the very heavy direction, and there it is. That's almost a thrash metal album,
Yep.
really. Yeah.
Sure is.
I've never listened to it.
I haven't.
He has it.
In 2000, Tracy would fill in for CeCe DeVille in Poison, who had left the band for a short time over a dispute. He returned to LA Guns for a third time in 2005 until 2013. At that time, we had Paul Black on vocals. Now, this is the time where there were two LA Guns at kind of going around at the same time. Phil Lewis's LA Guns and Tracy's LA Guns. There was obviously a legal fight over the name, which really hasn't gotten settled other than the fact that they came back together and now both play as LA Guns.
Lisa,
Yeah, well, they
go
did
ahead.
have the situation where, Steve Riley was going back and forth with them, and it got hashed out in court that it was going to be LA Guns and then Riley's LA Guns,
Yeah.
but that's more recent.
Yeah.
I had also read that Steve Riley was worth like $5 million. So obviously he had made some good deals in his days of all these different bands.
Smart investments.
I was going to say, like, a lot of times when bands split like this and they do two projects at once, I'm always going to go team whoever got the singer, right? Like, that's the identity. But in
Yeah.
this case, I feel like Tracy Gunn's guitar parts and guitar solos were more important to me than Phil Lewis's vocals. So I would rather see Tracy's version. That was that's how I saw it.
I'm split on that. Like I have a hard time choosing because both of them were so important
They
to
were.
the band, and I have seen both lineups.
But if you put an LA gun to my head, I'm picking Tracy.
I think I honestly think I might have picked Phil. I don't know. I think it's too hard of a choice, to be honest with
It's
you.
okay to be wrong. Keep going.
We also had a band in 2008 called Guns of Destruction, which was kind of a mix-up of present and former members of LA Guns and Guns N' Roses, and of Adler's Appetite Band, and of Slash's Snake Pit, and all of these people coming together.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't want
It's
that.
like these pseudo super groups. So after a long-running dispute with Phil, they came back together in 2012, and kind of since then have more or less been playing together. In 2014, Tracy was still forming new bands, and he formed a band called Devil City Angels. We had some guys, Ricky Rocket from Poison, obviously, and Eric Brittingham from Cinderella. Brandon Gibbs from Cheap Thrills, so pretty big band. They had an album released in 2015. So what is called his fourth go around with LA Guns from 2016, although really from 2012 to 2016 they were sort of playing together, we have that lineup coming forward into the future. He was also in Quiet Riot for 1 month, so in other words, 1 minute in 2015. He's had lots of other side projects. We've got Contraband. We've got a band named Sunbomb, which was originally intended to be another solo album with Michael Sweet from Stryper as the singer. It ended up being like a full project. Today, he does tons of press and interviews. You always hear him talking to somebody. He's very proud of his long legacy and founding membership in many influential bands of the glam era. He never wanted to be a copy of what was already out there. He never was, so good for that. He's very gracious, talking about how he received the work of the bands that he kind of left behind him. There's a story where he was in the studio with LA Guns, and he was presented with a recording of Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction, and he was so excited to hear it. And the people, he was so impressed and so thrilled with it and just so happy for them. And the people around him were like, aren't you a little miffed that, like, they kind of did this without you? And he's like, what are you talking about? This is great. And
Yeah.
he always kind of gives people kudos, and it doesn't seem to matter where he came from. So on the current lineup, he says, we're just a bunch of old hippies now trying to live out our hippie dreams. It's like summer camp all day long. So
Love it.
yeah. Just my personal comment, the current lineup of LA Guns, which includes Tracy and guitarist Ace Von Johnson, they have an amazing chemistry between the two of them. And I think that the new material really shows that. So good choice with Ace. And
Yeah.
love
That's
it.
cool.
Yeah. Ace is also a really cool guy. So
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
Looks great.
Moving on to Mike Cripps. Electric
Mick
and
Cripps.
Mick Cripps. Sorry. Mick.
Oh, Mike,
Cripps.
if you
I'm
want.
so sorry, Mick.
Hey, Mike.
Hailing originally from Australia, he joined Faster Pussycat in '85 when Tracy and Nikki Alexander were in the lineup, and then went to reform LA Guns with the guy when the guys went over. He's considered part of the classic lineup of LA Guns, leaving the band in 1995 and rejoining in '99 for the classic lineup reunion, which ended in 2001. He was invited to record on the 2012 album Hollywood Forever, but declined. He was in an experimental band called Burning Retina with Nikki Alexander from 93 to 96. They didn't release any music while he was in the band, though, but the band would go on to release music after he was gone. He was in the Brutalists. I want to say it's the Brutalists, but Wiki has the Brutalists, which I think is wrong. 2017 with Nigel Moog from the Choir Boys. They released their debut album in 2018. He also has a current project called The Long Shadows, formed in 2022. You can find a ton of live footage of them playing together. It is basically a cover band, 60s favorites, R&B mixed with country, blues, and rockabilly, Stones music, Kinks, Yardbirds, and the Beatles, and so much more, kind of a cover band. Unfortunately, Gaz Ivan is in the band, and he is a huge jerk. Fuck you, Gary Ivan, and I hope he is suffering the wrath of karma for the person that he is.
Yikes.
Yeah. Oh, fun fact about Mick, he worked at Let It Rock Boutique in LA. And Cripps' son Ian works for Warner Music Group. Okay. Kelly Nichols, bass, harmonica, and backing vocals for LA Guns. He was born in France, but he grew up in Atlanta before moving to New York. He is the nephew of French popular music guitarist and composer Pierre Perret. This man, Pierre Perret, has a slew of albums and appearances. When LA Guns was releasing their first album, he was releasing his 22nd. He has 38 albums in total. Also a novelist and wrote 9 books, all in French.
Sacre bleu.
Yeah, this guy is a virtuoso. He's pretty incredible. You can find his appearances, videos, and merch at pierreperret.fr. In 1981, Nichols briefly joined metal band Virgin Steel. He was a roadie for a band called Hot Shot, which eventually would become Danger Danger. He recorded 1 album with New York band Sweet Pain and then joined Faster Pussycat. According to Wiki, he was badly injured in a motorcycle accident on the Sunset Strip, which I believe we talked about in our Faster Pussycat episode.
Yes.
Due to this injury, his position in the band was replaced. His left leg was broken in 7 different places. He was in the hospital for 3 months, had 10 different surgeries, and had to walk with a cane for many years afterwards.
Yeah, it's
Um,
bad.
Yeah, it was really bad. He joined LA Guns in 87 and claims on his wiki that he wrote the Ballad of Jane, although, as we will talk about a little bit later, he wasn't the only writer, as his wiki claims he was. He was in and out of the band through the 90s to return in the early 2000s. Again, which LA Guns is the real LA Guns? He was in Steve Riley's version of LA Guns and still appears as a member on the Riley's LA Guns website and still posted today. He remembers some of his favorite moments with the original lineup, touring with such greats as AC/DC, Cheap Trick, and Def Leppard. A direct quote from him, man, it was just one long party. Just trying to do the best you can, making sure that the live shows were always good, doing every interview, singing, signing every autograph, trying to be nice to people. I enjoyed the whole thing. I had fun meeting people and hearing stories about how they got there. They stole their mom's car to come to the show and stuff like that. I just enjoyed the whole experience. In 2020, he spoke about the album Renegades. I had talked with longtime singer Phil, and they were getting together as the original lead guitarist Tracy Guns, plus new bassist Johnny Martin, rhythm guitarist Ace, and drummer Scott Coogan. I asked him if he thought it would be a good idea if I came back, and he didn't.
Oh, shit.
So shortly after that, probably a few weeks after that, Steve Riley called me and told me that the other version was asked to play M3 and turned it down. So the guys who owned M3 told Steve, why don't you put a band together with some of the other cats who were in the original band and just do that and come play the song. So he called me, and that's pretty much how it started.
Interesting.
Yeah. Nikki is divorced from Kelly Cunningham, mother of actress Emma Roberts. Nichols has a daughter, Grace, with Cunningham, born in 2001. He has a Facebook and an Instagram, but he was posting really heavily until mid-2024 and seems to have kind of stopped there. So, Steve Riley. Unfortunately, we lost Steve on October 24th, 2023. And as we said, he is a local boy from Revere, Massachusetts. His first band was a revival of the band Steppenwolf in 1979, which lasted less than a year.
It's nuts.
Yeah, he then joined Keel and played on their first album, although he did not receive full credit for playing, with his replacement, Dwayne Miller, receiving the credit. He is still salty about that to this day. I don't blame him at all.
Well, probably not to
Well,
this day.
Not anymore.
Well, until.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
Such dicks.
He was in Wasp for a little while and then joined LA Guns and became part of the classic lineup. Despite Nikki Alexander playing on 11 of the 12 first album tracks, Riley played on number 12. He was fired in 92 but returned in 95. This time period, as we keep saying, seems to be a huge turmoil for the band. They seem to have a basic hiatus between 92 and 95, although there's some controversy that they were technically still together and under contract during that time. Riley remained part of Phil Lewis's version of LA Guns in 2006 until 2016 when the lineups converged again. Riley created his own version of LA Guns in 2019. This version released an album, Renegades. Following lawsuits over the name, a settlement was reached in 2021, allowing the band to continue as Riley's LA Guns. Wikipedia tells us Riley had a wife named Mary Louise and a son named Cole, 2 brothers, Michael and Daniel. He was a passionate fan of the Boston Red Sox and the Boston Celtics, and was described by his family as a World War II buff. So he died at the age of 67 after a severe case of pneumonia, although his family has stated that he had been battling various illnesses for quite a while, several weeks being quite sick. He had reportedly suffered from various health issues and had been using a cane to walk for a long time before this. Blackie Lawless shared his thoughts of Riley. It was Steve's drumming you hear, providing the steady beat on songs like Wild Child and Blind in Texas and I Don't Need No Doctor. Those songs helped cement our legacy, and Steve was a big part of that. Riley's LA Guns, which included Kelly Nichols, still has a website and still sells merch at laguns.net. Most drummers have some of the best humor in any band. It's just the way they're wired, and he was no exception. Steve could make a dog laugh, and that's no joke.
Yeah, with that heavy Revere accent, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
That is
So that's it. That's what you got?
Yeah.
All right. There you go, folks. You are now well informed on the LA Guns.
I'm still confused because half the time I still don't know what's going on with the band over the years.
Neither do they.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna do some opening thoughts. I know the listeners right now are saying to themselves, Des, why are you wearing scar tape on the bridge of your nose? I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. So I got this bruiser little cat. His name is Mr. Jinx. He's my little buddy, but he's a little street guy. He's a tough little motherfucker. So we play games around the house where he hunts me and I hunt him, and eventually there's an altercation where we attack and he gets thrown down, and it's fun. We have fun. We do this. So we were playing this game the other day, and I thought the game was over. Thought we had completed the game, but apparently we hadn't. So I laid down on the couch to just relax. I was watching some TV, and this little bastard comes. He sleeks in behind the couch, and he fucking hits me with a right hook to the fucking bridge of my nose. That it hit with the force of like an angry little person. It fucking bloodied my nose and caused a big scar, a big fucking tear across the bridge of my nose. My face was a fucking blanket of blood. It was unbelievable. He felt so bad. I could tell he like ran away and like fucking curled up on the bed like, oh, I'm sorry. But it was funny. My face was a mask of blood. This cat fucked me up with one punch of his little putty paw.
Wow.
There you go.
Well,
Yeah.
when you guys did the Alien podcast on
Yeah.
Hey, Did You Ever See That Movie? You were talking about how the cat on the ship watching the alien make a kill,
Yes.
that they are the predator. So
Yes.
you should have been heeding your own warning there.
He is the ultimate predator. And I'll tell you what, that little guy hits hard. Okay. Okay. Let's do some opening thoughts on this one. So, first two LA Guns albums, among my favorite hair metal albums of all time. So obviously I was super familiar going into this podcast. I hadn't sat down and listened to this whole album all the way through, like just, put it in, just listen to it in a million years. So the question was, did it stand the test of time? We're going to find out. Dave, how about you?
I have listened to this one many, many times. It is my absolute favorite LA Guns album. Buckle up. Again, as usual, I was late to the party with this one, but we will rewind a little bit. Around the time that it came out, I had heard of LA Guns. I probably saw some videos on MTV. I saw some ads for Gibson strings and guitar magazines with Tracy and Mick Cripps. Just after that, probably around the Hollywood Vampires time in 1991, there was a guitar clinic being put on by Randall Amps featuring Tracy at Sam Ash Music in Edison, New Jersey.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
Yeah, recently closed, R.I.P. Sam Ash. As a younger guitar student, I decided to check it out, even though I wasn't very familiar with LA Guns' work. Tracy was endorsed by Randall Amps at that time. I wish I had video, but if I remember right, it was just him playing guitar with backing tracks, but I was seriously blown away by the guitar skill. After it was over, they had a meet and greet where I got a Randall Amp poster signed by Tracy. I still have that today.
Oh, shit.
I got to get it framed.
That's awesome.
So a few years later, we pick up our story of Cocked and Loaded. It's summer 1996. I just graduated Berklee Music School. Having lived in and near Boston for the previous 4 years, I was expanding my music collection from all the used CD shops in town. I did buy some CDs, but also a lot of cassette tapes because you could get CDs for $8, but used tapes were like $2. So I could get a bigger variety of things to try for the same money. Pretty sure my cassette copy of Cocked and Loaded came from one of those shops. I was living in this apartment in Malden. The girl I was living with had packed up to move to Nashville and be a singer. Side note, she now runs a donkey farm in Idaho or some shit like that.
How'd that work out?
Yeah, not great, I guess.
Oh, shit.
So anyway, I couldn't afford the apartment on my own, so I had to pack up, move in with the singer in my band. Luckily, they had spare room at the house so I could crash in.
Nice.
This album was the soundtrack to that summer and the breakup of a bad relationship. Something about it at the time when I put it on really grabbed me, and I started playing it on loop over and over again, making me a diehard LA Guns fan to this day.
That's awesome. What a great story. That's exactly how I feel about Nothing Shocking. It was the same thing. Lost the girl. Just that album resonated and I just played it on a fucking loop. Dave, do you ever have any work done down at Meridian Guitars right down the street from Berkeley?
At Meridians?
Yeah.
Up in, I forget where they are now, but they
Yeah.
were in Wilmington or something like
Yes.
that. Yeah, I've had a couple guitars set up there,
Yep.
my Les Paul and when I had my Telly. They did good stuff. I need
Yeah.
to go back over there and bring them some stuff
Yeah. So if
pretty
you're
soon.
in the Boston area and you need work done on a guitar, Dave Meridian. I don't know if he's still doing it or if it's his son now or whatever, but
I think it's a son now.
okay. Yeah. But just they do fucking great work. So there you go. Meridian Guitars. Lisa, the album, talk about it.
I can't believe it was 1996 before you find this.
I
found this
can't
album.
either.
I'm
Yeah.
in like shock.
Yeah.
Not to shame you, but had
Yeah.
you heard the first album first or this one first, Dave?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think I'd, seen MTV or whatever, but
Okay.
Wow. Sheltered. Okay, so
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
album is full of memories for me. I remember I was already obsessed with the first album. I remember waiting at the record store on the Tuesday morning because remember back in the day, release day was Tuesday morning.
Tuesdays.
Yep, Tuesdays. So I was waiting for the chance for the store to open so I could get my copy. It was the summer, which was great because I would have ditched school if it was not.
Nice.
Yeah.
Badass.
I remember just listening to this over and over and over and over and over again for weeks. This is a band I've seen pretty much more than any other band, maybe rivaling Skid Row. I really haven't done the math, but one of those two is my top live shows. I've driven thousands and thousands of miles to see this band. And I've seen them in other countries. I've gone days without sleep to see them. They're basically friends to us, especially to my friend Janae. She's dated a few past and current members. I'll keep to myself which ones. Gentlemen past and present, but they're all still friends to these days. All still great. They're great guys. There's no bad blood for any of those. We're still all friends. And the look of this band, like back in '89, black hair, leather, makeup, more makeup than me, sleazy, glam, everything I loved. So
Yeah, so fucking good. I saw them in San Francisco. They were so drunk. They had that Hollywood Strip backdrop behind them. Do you remember that tour?
mm-hmm.
And yeah, they were so
Yep.
fucking drunk. Oh my god! I remember going and being like, "Wow, they can't play at all." I mean, I've seen them.
Which
them
was
like
great.
you.
Even then.
Yeah, no, I've seen them so many times too. I mean, back in the day, I think I've only seen the updated version once at Foxborough, at that little club down at Foxborough Stadium. They were very good, but yeah, back in the day, oh man, did I love some fucking LA Guns. Oh, like biker glam, right?
Yeah.
So
Biker
cool.
glam.
Yeah, so cool. All right, let's rate the singer as always. It's 1 through 100, 25 on hair, 25 on style and stage presence, and 50% on talent. That feels like doing hair metal. I feel like the 50% should be like on stage presence and hair or something. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. So for me, Phil Lewis was always cool. But Tracy was really the draw for me. Tracy Guns, like when that little black and white picture with him with the gloves with the stars, the fucking Nikki Sixx hair, just oh man, it was always Tracy Guns for me. Phil wasn't the stereotypical sleaze metal frontman. He was like a little more polite, a little more refined, and maybe it's because he's British. I don't know, but for whatever reason, he was missing just a little of the edge, a little of the dirty danger, a little of the street wear that I want out of my fucking bands at this time. Don't get me wrong. I loved Phil Lewis, but he just wasn't as filthy dirty as some of the other guys. But he had straight black hair, 25 points. He had a great voice, 37.9 points. And with decent stage presence at 19.2 points, my score is 81.81 for Phil Lewis. Dave.
Phil is super cool. Great hair, great style, and stage presence. Also, to me, one of the best singers in 80s metal. Still sounds good on the new LA Guns album. And as we mentioned, we saw him sing acoustic at Kodo in Salem a few months ago. I've met him at least 3 times, and he was awesome every time. Give him a 22 on hair, 23 on style, 39.9 on vocal talent.
Nice.
Philip gets an 84.9 total score from me.
Oh, we saw it almost identically. Lisa, Phil Lewis.
Oh, this is a no-brainer for me. Have you
100.
have you seen this man? Have you seen this man? This man was goth glam perfection.
He
right?
was.
Black hair, bandana, skin tight pants, this sexy smoldering look when he sang, just the right amount of accessories and belts, and so much guy liner.
Yep.
You say he was like a little refined. That's what I liked about him.
Me too. No, me too.
That's what made him the coolest. He's interesting to watch on stage, had great moves. He is why I keep coming back to this band over and over and over again. His voice can hold the melody. He can hit the high notes with this gritty, sleazy edge in the most perfect way. He can make any song sound sexy without being repetitive. You can understand him even if he's delivering fast notes like bullets. And while every single 80s metal cover band does their song, it is extremely difficult to find a cover band that can do him justice.
Yeah.
To this day, he still sounds amazing. Just look at videos from his performances this year on the Monsters of Rock cruise and on their own tour, and especially on their new album. He's not lost a note. He puts to shame a lot of singers from that era that are wrestling with time. And to be fair, everyone has to age. It isn't to say that he's still 20, now, but he has aged perfectly. Has maintained his sound and is still incredibly cool and a super, super nice guy. And if you follow him on social media, he is absolutely hilarious. And he has a wild fashion sense even to this day. He is a perfect 100 for me. He is the front man of the ages for me.
Oh, interesting. He just missed a little of the edge that I like Axl Rose was just a little edgier. Like Sebastian Bach, remember they did that super group show where they took all these guys and tried to make a super group?
Yeah.
I think it was like John Bonham Jr. was the drummer, Sebastian was the singer. This big burly guy from the bass player, who was it? I remember like Nuclear Assault or something. And he fucking lipped off to fucking Sebastian. Sebastian threw him down on the ground and was like, "I'll fuck you up, dude." I was like, that's cool.
Was that Savage Animal?
Yes. Oh,
Yeesh.
shit. But I agree, though. Fucking Phil Lewis, awesome. So add it up and let us know where Phil Lewis lands on the frontman leaderboard.
Okay. He seems to be the only one we have a perfect one. Oh, no, we had a perfect 100 on Tammy from Dez, right?
Yes.
And a couple for Steven Tyler, Ozzy, and Sebastian each got 100 from you, Dez, as well. So, but for me, this is my only 100 score. Dave has yet to give anyone a 100 score. So Phil Lewis on the vinyl frontman leaderboard comes in at number 4 with a total score of 88.90, just under Sebastian Bach and just above Tammy Down.
I like that. That's fine.
I think he should have been above Sebastian.
No, come on. Lisa.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. People are listening to this show. Come on.
I stand by that.
Are they?
Dave, that's awesome. Sebastian, his vocal prowess puts him above Phil Lewis every day. Dave, who's better, Sebastian or Phil?
I don't know. I like Phil Lewis better.
Dave has to live with Lisa. He's winking at me. He knows the right answer. Okay, everybody. So there you go. Let's get into it. Let's get into this album. We'll break it down. The first song on the album is Letting Go. So it's not a song, okay? It's an interlude. I love this descending intro. It's laced with this ripping snare drum. Again, this is where I'm immediately surprised. I'm like, oh, fuck, Steve Riley. Wow, better than I remember. It's a perfect little interlude to the album, and it feels a little bit like an interlude to Slap in the Face. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts, Dave?
I also commented on the descending riff with building intensity. Builds to a screaming beginning to the song's second 7 seconds in. It is not a normal selection for a first song, much more laid back and grooving than you might expect, but there is a heavy sleaze vibe, and the guitar is charmingly trashy sounding. As you said, this is really more of an introduction and not a whole song, although they probably could have made it into one if they wanted to. Last 15 seconds is all sound effect and synth build up. I'm pretty sure I hear coffee pouring in there too. I hear the Mr. Coffee.
I think this would have been a great song. And I remembered it being a song. When it ended after 1 minute, I went, what? I remember that being a song. Lisa.
Yeah. So I also remembered this being a song. But actually, if you see this billed today in any way, it's usually billed as letting go / slap in the face as the quote unquote song. I remembered it as a song myself, though. It's basically one verse with a super catchy hook. We're immediately introduced to Phil's recognizable scream with great gritty sound. Sleaze rock band with great guitar riffs. I love the diving note in the beginning. He manages to make anything sound sexy. It's a perfect ramp up for the album, and the fade out guitar and the bass and atmospheric ending transitions perfectly into the next, I guess, full song. It got me ready for the album, and nothing has changed. 5 stars.
Yeah, it's fucking great. Track number 2, like you said, it slips into Slap in the Face. And right away, the production is great on this album. And it's so obvious, like Dave said, especially coming off the last album. I mean, that last album was so gritty and so much, it was better than this. But from an audio standpoint, this one sounds great, especially the drums. They got such a great drum sound on this album. The problem was the drums were pushed forward really hard, which is fine because he was playing great and they sounded great, but they didn't push up Kelly Nichols at the same time. And these guys were playing really, really well together. Kelly Nichols was playing great bass on this. They were locked in. And unfortunately, Kelly Nichols is kind of lost in the mix, and it really bums me out. I mean, he's there when it's important, but not there enough. The song itself, amazing chorus. And Lisa, I do find that sometimes it's a little hard to make out the lyrics and the verses between, Phil being very British and the effects they use. And they don't over effect them. I'm not saying by any means there's too much effect on this, because there's not. It's the right amount of effect. But he is British, and sometimes I can't really make out everything he's saying, only in the verses. But it's fine. I'm nitpicking.
You know what, though? I grew up, my mother was Irish, so I grew up in a household with accents. So maybe that's why I had zero problem.
Well, we're all from Boston, so we should probably be able to make out any.
I know we have the worst accent of all.
But what I could make out in the verses was killer. It was really, really good. And finally, we get the first of many, many ripping guitar solos from Tracy. Yeah, it's great. It's always filled with a perfect mix of melody and shredding. Tracy Guns is a master at doing that. He splits a lot of his solos in half, where you'll get, the chord rah, rah, in this real melodic fashion, and then he'll give you a bunch of single note shredding. So I love the song. It's fucking great. Dave.
Here's our first full song. There's some space in it and a little guitar harmony accents. Very snappy drum beat.
Yeah.
We hear more wah-wah guitar from Tracy, which we will get plenty of in this album, which is very cool. We also already get some of that Hollywood vampires imagery in the lyrics. The first lines are kamikaze hitman, love on the run, no mercy for the children of the night.
Thank you for that, Dave. Thank you for that, Dave. I had no idea.
Kamikaze Hitman was the line I picked too.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Killer guitar solo, impressive runs. The rest of the band is super solid. Great high notes from Phil towards the end too. Getting back to the Hollywood vampires in the home video, the Love, Peace, and Geese home video, they show off a few of their tattoos, and they talk about how each guy in the band has a different Hollywood vampires tattoo in a different spot, whether it's on his arm or chest or whatever, because, they sleep all day and party all night.
Love it. It's fucking awesome. Lisa.
Cool.
Great first full opening song on the album. Nice opening guitars with Tracy in the foreground, with some nice bass and rhythm in the back of it. It's a very thick sound when you have these two guitars. It's strikingly different than a single guitar band. We get it, of course, the Kamikaze Hitman was my pick for the lyrics as well. The cadence of the lyrics works really well. Not all the lyrics rhyme, so when you read it, it feels like it shouldn't work, but he makes it work with how he twists the words and how he pronounces them, and that might be his accent, and that might be why I like it so much. Um, there's a one line bridge that changes the key for just a minute if you're paying attention. And then we go back into the hook. The hook isn't even the title of the song. We get the don't go getting excited and then knock you off your rocker, which is like
Good.
freaking great. And it's almost like the title is like an afterthought in that stream. Which is fine. And it's fantastic. I love the dark guitar licks behind just about everything here. Tracy has a lot of room to kind of exercise himself when there's a rhythm guitar playing behind him, which is freaking amazing. And I think, is purposeful why he almost always plays with another guitarist behind him so that he can do all of those tricks through these songs. The lyrics aren't particularly overtly sexual, but like anything, the song sounds like a sexy song. Beautiful guitar solo from Tracy. I love the tone of his guitar, and I never say that because I usually don't understand what that means, but it's bright and it's clean, while also being able to be bluesy and sleazy. It's me today, sneezy. Yeah, it's almost like the production has layered him playing exactly the same thing, and just like layered him twice, doing it to make it extra thick. I really like that. We get some nice vocal sustained notes from Phil, scream, and a vocal breakdown at the end, and a play out by Tracy. It's simple, but I love that last part as the song is disappearing. I wish they didn't have that kind of solo fading out at the end. I was like, oh my God, let me hear the rest of Tracy playing that,
Yeah.
don't make it stop. No official video. It's hard to find this song as a video online at all, even live. But you actually have to search Letting Go / Slap in the Face to find anything at all. And if you do, there is a 2018 live performance. Phil sounds phenomenal.
So if you guys listen to the show, you know that with bands with two guitar players, for me, it's important that I can discern the two guitars, apart from each other. And this band does not use Mick Cripps like that. I think something Lisa said really kind of shined through to me. Tracy Guns wants to use another guitar player so that he can do all those little tricks and licks that he does on the album. But at the same time, he wants it all to sound like him on the album.
Yeah.
So I think that, really, I can't even hear Mick Cripps on this album. For me, it just sounds like Tracy Guns did everything. It all sounds like the same guitar sound. I do not hear a second guitar on this album. And when I say that, I mean, obviously I hear the second guitar. I don't hear a difference in the sounds that make it sound like two different guitar players. And I don't think that they really let Mick Cripps do Mick Cripps on this. I think it's just Mick Cripps doing Tracy Guns playing rhythm guitar, which is fine. And it works for me. Dave, what do you think about that thought?
I've always kind of had a suspicion that maybe, they'll have Mick Cripps on, one track buried in the mix somewhere, and Tracy, records like 6 guitar tracks of what he wants to hear.
Right.
And that it's mostly him.
Yeah.
But that's just my suspicion. You never know.
Yeah, no, I don't. This isn't fucking Danny West and Delana. I'm not hearing the separation here. Okay, track number 3, Rip and Tear. This one opens with a huge guitar riff that's delivered with a huge sound. Kelly Nichols, he's shining on this track. Again, I wish it was a little bit louder, but he's playing some really tasty bass licks on this. Another great chorus. These guys know how to write a chorus, and they also know how to set it up with a great bridge. And finally, Tracy Guns, he takes us out with a speedy solo that's delivered with a step up in tempo at the end. Oh, I love this solo. I love this track. Dave.
This one's an LA Guns classic. They still play it today. Big ballsy guitars start this one off. Definitely some classic influences here. Big background vocals in the sing-along chorus, and very cool guitar solo with just a little bit of Hammond organ in the background. That end part speeds up bit by bit with a blazing final guitar solo to match.
Ooh, blazing. Whew.
Love it.
Lisa.
Nice opening riff here. We get that nice thick dual guitar sound. Great lyrics on this song. There's a lot of rhyming here. in the best way there possibly could be.
Yeah.
We have a great chorus with the gang vocals, great background vocals in the verses as well. I noticed. I know we mentioned that the Cheap Tricks guys were background vocals. I'm wondering if this wasn't one of the songs that they were. We can't really tell, I think, but
Yeah, it's possible.
Mm.
I tried to listen to see if I could pick out, especially like Robin Zander
mm,
singing a backup part somewhere, but I can't really tell.
Yeah.
we get a great guitar solo that changes the key and tone of the song before it goes back to like the main key. Then there's this perfect bass line playing behind it with some cowbell. Couldn't be
Yep.
better. And again, I'm going back to the guitar tone. It's so bright. How does he get it so bright? I think Dave is going to tell us at some point how he
Nice,
does that.
Dave.
Lots of volume and distortion.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice bridge on this song with the tone coming down and the guitar pulled back. It's funny when you read the lyrics line after line, it feels like it shouldn't work, but when Phil brings in that melody where he speeds it up or slows it down, it fits in like magic. Love the second guitar solo at the end when the tempo speeds up. Is that like just the best thing ever?
It's so
Um,
good.
And you can hear him playing faster and faster, and he like keeps right up and just like shreds and shreds. And then again they friggin' fade it out again. I'm like, don't fade it out. I just
Don't
want to
fade it
hear him
out.
keep playing. Oh my god. I would like to hear more bands cover this song because this is not usually the first pick for bands to cover. I think this would be a great song, especially that sped up ending. I would love to hear that. Did you guys ever cover that?
I've played it in practice with one of the old bands, but I don't think I've ever played that one live.
Yeah, it's usually Never Enough and Ballad of Jane, and that's the ones that they usually pick. I'd like to hear this one. This one has an official video. We get footage of the band playing in front of a live audience. How freaking cool do they look? Oh my god. Perfectly costumed, so much leather and vinyl, bandanas and black hair, goth boys with a glam edge. Yes, please. Lots of guy liner. Phil takes off his jacket and has this little polka dot halter top on or whatever it is. It is so freaking cool. We get some stage diving, some split jumps. We see the whole band. It's not just one of the guys. We get Phil laying on the ground while Tracy plays his solo. The bridge gives us a fade out of photos of a pretty girl, but it's used sparingly and the focus is really on the band, which is good. The second play out solo by Tracy, he's on his knees, which is a Dave move, by the way, playing the solo on his knees.
Where do you
Love
think I learned it?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's no story here in the video, just a sleazy, dirty live performance, and I'm all for it.
My favorite LA Guns video, and it's not even close, is Sex Action. It's not even close. The second place isn't even in the same fucking arena.
Yeah,
How about
that's
you
a great
guys?
video. Yeah, that's my favorite too.
Dave?
I don't know. I like them all.
Okay.
I can't pick.
Dude, talking about Cheap Trick. You guys ever see that movie Over the Edge with Matt Dillon?
Yes,
Yeah, and
a long time ago though.
Yeah, and Surrender is the song where the girl's got the gun and it
Yeah.
accidentally goes off. So that's what always brings. Every time I think Cheap Trick, I go right to that movie Over the Edge. Pretty dangerous, Dave. Did you ever see it?
I have not.
Dude, the VHS tape is still in his locker at high school. Track number 4, Sleazy Come, Easy Go. So right away on this track, I can really make out the lyrics in the verse like crystal clear. And I'm so glad because there's such great lyrics. Get a little more of a blues feel here for sure. We get another great guitar solo here, and I'd expect nothing less from the great Tracy Guns. This is 4 tracks in, and I've loved every single one so far. Dave.
A great title. We get some Kelly Nichols bass and awesome cowbell to start this one. This one has a little more of a story, I guess, about a disposable girl kind of taking the fall for moving some drugs, is what I'm gathering here. More great guitar, Jimmy Page approved licks in abundance.
Yes, sir. Lisa, Sleazy Come, Easy Go.
Oh, I've been waiting for this one.
I know you have.
Yeah, sleazy bass line to start, bluesy guitar. We get Phil's voice in a very low register in the beginning, which is nice and very different from some of the other stuff we've heard. I love it when the lead guitar comes in. We get a great bluesy riff. This is just pure sleaze blues metal. I just love everything about it. We've got storytelling lyrics. I love the little whoa taxi cab. Whoa.
Oh, it's so good.
So freaking good. I love the overlaying gang vocals in the chorus. It's so catchy. I love the isolated guitars leading into the next chorus. We've got a bluesy guitar solo. It's not a shredder solo, but it's just a perfect, fitting solo for this song. We get a real bridge as the solo wraps up with the gang vocals, maybe a little 50s blues there. We get a replacement mini bridge when the story changes. Instead of repeating, they continue the story. Now she's doing time and she's in prison. I love the line, I told you it ain't nice to grab. I don't know why I've always remembered that all these years. A nice play out on this song with a great drag scream from Phil. That I would have liked to hear at full volume. Again, they keep fading out some of the best parts of their songs. I don't know. There's no official video for this one. There's a ton of live footage of it. They do play it live a lot. And this song also may have been in my previous career history for some reason or another. We won't mention.
Oh boy, what a fun day that was back in your old career history.
Yeah.
Miss those days. They were fun. They really produced the vocals on that song perfectly. Like you said,
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, I'm so glad we were able to, crystal clear hear everything there. Yeah, my wife may have also. No, let's not go there. Track number 5, Never Enough. So the first time I saw this video and heard this song, I absolutely fell in love with it, and nothing has changed. This song is so good, it almost feels like a cover song, right? Like,
Yeah.
did they really write this song? Wow. It's perfect from the great verses, the setup bridge, and finally the over the top awesome chorus with the most buttery vocals ever. Tracy Guns plays a killer solo on this one that really reminds me of the first album. It brings me back to what he was doing on that first LA Guns album. There's this little subtle theremin under it, right? And finally, the vocals, 100 watts. And the video, oh, it's so good. Dave, did you like it?
Yes, I love it. I love it so much that I play this one with my cover band, Gypsy Freaks.
Ooh.
We will be at the Revo Casino in Conway, New Hampshire, Friday, May 30th, coming up.
Wow.
And you come see us, maybe you'll hear this one.
Are there slot machines there?
I'm sure there are.
Well, I mean, the Hampton Ballroom Casino, I had to find out the hard way going up there to see Jet. I'm like, where's the casino? Where the fucking slot machines? There's no slot machines. Fuck.
Yeah, no, this is the Revo is an actual casino. We played at their location in a different location in New
Was it
Hampshire.
Plymouth?
It wasn't Plymouth,
No.
but and they have regular
Portsmouth.
casino stuff.
It was Portsmouth.
How
I can't
Um,
remember.
how is the size of that casino like compared to like Twin River? Have you ever played there?
It's smaller.
Yeah, it's a small place.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not
still
not
fun.
the size of Twin River, but
Yeah, it's still fun.
yeah, it's a
though.
good time.
And yeah, Lisa actually sent me a video of you playing this song with your said cover band. And I thought you guys did really, really well. Singer was great. And Dave, of course. That you sent me another video of Dave playing a song, Aussie. I was very impressed, Dave. You're a very good guitar player.
Made me cry.
Thanks. Once in a while.
Yeah, you're a very good guitar player. Dave is a very, very good guitar player, everybody. This guy can really rip on the fucking guitar.
Thanks. So all the songs on the album are credited to the 5 guys in the band at the time, with the exception of this one. Also credited on this song is Greg Tripp and Phil Roy. These 2 writers have written songs performed by Cinderella, Vixen, Ray Charles, and more.
Wow, that's quite
So,
a
yeah,
contrast in artists.
Yeah, I had to pick and choose from the list of their
Slayer,
work.
Overkill, and Ray Charles.
And Frank Sinatra.
And Frank Sinatra.
Yes. The guitar intro is so aggressive. I love it. The rest of the band builds into the song. They also play this one today. Sounds like we have some low piano notes accenting the pre-chorus. That's a cool little touch. Phil was quoted on this song for the Metal Sludge 3 Wind on August 22nd of 2005. He says, I was trying to sort of comment on the excess of the 80s, like the $100,000 videos and $500,000 records, just the whole excess of that period. Sure, we sold 1 million records, but it wasn't really enough because everyone else, like Cinderella and Poison, they were selling 2 million, 4 million, 6 million, and it was just never enough. And I did kind of want to write a song about that. No matter what we did, it was never enough.
Nice.
So their 1990 video for this song is shot as if they are on the old Ed Sullivan show, complete with a fake Ed Sullivan introducing them, starting in black and white and eventually changing into color partway through. Very cool. Leather jackets and polka dot scarves and spiky hair all over the place. This video concept was, let's say, borrowed or maybe just plain ripped off the very next year for Nirvana's In Bloom video. Same idea. I watched them back to back. Nirvana's song was way shittier and they dressed like fucking nerds. So fuck Nirvana.
Didn't Weezer also do something similar? I don't know.
Maybe. I didn't look at that.
I like the Happy Days Weezer song. Lisa, go ahead.
So speaking of Dave's band playing this song, I was chatting with Phil a few weeks ago and sent him a video of Gypsy Freaks playing Never Enough, including Dave's guitar solo. And Phil was just completely honored that people were still playing his song and said Dave was fantastic.
No.
Keep that in mind if something ever happens to Tracy Guns.
Well, we had that discussion because there's a funny story because when Ace and Phil were here, we were hanging out and Ace was with us and we were going around and I looked at Ace and we're standing in front of Salem Harbor and I was like, Dave, if I push Ace off the edge of Salem Harbor, and it was a joke, right? Because let me just tell you, Ace and Tracy play amazing together, and Ace is a fantastic guy. But it's a joke that's like, how do we get Dave into LA Guns? So
It's going to be like an episode of Scooby Doo, and you'll find Ace Von Johnson tied up in a closet, and then it's like, oh, it's been old man Dave the whole time.
This is an episode of Columbo, if I ever saw one. The girlfriend kills Ace and Dave. Oh yeah, just one more thing there, Lisa.
I would never do that. Ace is awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he really is.
Sure.
Great guy. Fantastic guy.
Sure.
Okay.
One day I'll be in LA Guns.
Ace, don't drink any drinks if you haven't been around him the whole time.
So, oh my God, the opening guitar riff on this song is so good. I love how the vocals come in with the drum shortly after. We get the dual guitars again with the little mini shredding from Tracy right in the beginning. I just love how having the two guitars lets Tracy really go crazy. This is probably my favorite vocal start on this album when he says, hey, little girl, while you're fooling around. And then as soon as that comes out of my mouth, I go, I'm not even creeped out that he's talking about a little girl. Okay. It goes right over my head. I don't even care. I don't know why. It doesn't matter to me.
Figure of speech.
Yeah.
He's using it as a descriptive petite lady,
Boo.
not
Hey, little girl.
not underage.
Yes.
Hey, little girl. Let's get you out of those underoos.
And who doesn't want to be this little girl? Of course, everybody wants this song to be about them. Although I do have a song written for me by Dez.
Yes, you do.
Yes, I do. Called Blacked Out Mona Lisa by Dez on YouTube. Y'all need to go search it up and give him a comment because it's really, really amazing.
Get over there.
Yeah.
With my big guitar solo. Dave, what you think of my guitar solo? How simple was that?
It sounded good.
Holy shit. So simple. All right. Sorry. Keep going.
To be fair, Dave actually made me cry in a club this past week. So that was a new one for me. Although it wasn't a song about me, his band surprised me with a song.
I'm Not Your Brother.
Yeah, they played
nice.
my brother's favorite song on the anniversary of his death. So yeah, 20th
Dave's a
anniversary.
classy guy.
Yeah, so
Dave's
I was
a
just
classy
crying.
guy.
It was. I've never cried in a club. It was horrifying. So.
Oh, I've cried in clubs.
Yeah. So
I cried in clubs when they ran out of Jack Daniels.
Oh, shit.
okay,
Cocaine.
back to the song. So I love the tone change on the song when we go into the pre-chorus and it's I've been walking, like how it just slows down, just complete. It's like a whole new song, but it's the same song. It's just freaking amazing.
Yep.
We've got maybe the best hook chorus on this album, with Tracy's licks behind it. I love the perfect high note in the vocals that he reaches here. And then we get the bye, bye, bye. I freaking love that part.
Way before the Backstreet Boys.
So,
Yeah,
Lucy,
oh my
you're
God.
taking over the role of Ken Tamplin on the show
Yes.
now.
Well, I can't sing it all, so I'm just trying to like explain that part of the song.
I
But
love it.
yeah, you get the "Hey little girl, you're a hot breaker," and then you get the coming up in the notes, and something about the melody of this song. The notes go up in just the right places, and it gives me goosebumps. I just love it so much. Right before the guitar solo, we get this amazing guttural scream from Phil that's just about the best vocal moment on the whole album. The solo itself is too short because it's so good. I want like 16 more bars at least. At least he keeps inserting little tricks through the whole song, which is nice. I love the stick ending here with another scream. I don't have enough words to explain how great this song is. Ridiculously cool video that Dave explained about the Ed Sullivan Show. As the color starts coming in on the band, and it doesn't come in all at once. Like they bring in a few colors at a time, and it's
Yes.
just really cool. They just start to, you get the red,
The lipstick on Phil. Yeah,
it's
good.
freaking great.
It's
Yeah.
good.
Color.
It's
Ugh,
good.
so much leather pants and black hair, and it's even cooler than glam hair. It's like gothy glam, and
It's
oh my
so
God.
good.
Yeah, I
Dave,
love
what's
it.
he playing? A BC Rich in that video, Tracy?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
BC Rich 2 pickup.
Yes.
I think it was like one of his gunslingers, but they put 2 pickups in it.
One of those guitars they used to have with like the cracked look or those were awesome. And then Mick Cripps playing the black Les Paul, which was his signature. I always loved that. He's so
Can't go wrong.
Mick
And
Cripps
we
is so
also
cool.
get Phil basically stripping at the end of the song.
Yes,
which
we do. Yes,
is
we
great. So yeah.
Fucking Phil had those crazy cowboy boots. They were white and like black, and they were just so unusual. I love those boots. All right, track number 6, Malaria. So I usually do not go for the fade in, right? But I do go for the fade in here because I loved it. I love these little fucking tap things that Tracy's doing. It sounds so cool. This song has a great feel. And this is where I noticed this on the album. I'm going to mention it again. Up to this point, every song has had its own identity. Like they all sound like their own song. This is not a blur or a mashup of like a sound. Like these are all very distinguishable songs. Kelly Nichols, really great moments on this track. Like he's an unsung hero. I mean, he's not an amazing bass player, but he plays for the song, he plays for the track, and he has the bass licks to get it done. And I wanted to hear more. I wanted this bass turned up so much more, but I can hear it here where it counts, and it's great. And this is going to go to these 3 producers. This is a clinic on how to smother a song and effects without losing the audio quality. Like this could have easily become a mess to where you couldn't even hear what was going on, but nope, it's in perfect focus while being drenched in effect. We get another killer chorus here. Tracy gets very creative with his guitar solo here. Steve Riley is bringing it on this album and on this song with great sounds, extremely interesting beats and fills. I fucking love this song. Dave.
Yeah, we start off with a sort of Van Halen Mean Street inspired guitar lick. And then when the song kicks in, we are treated to a killer groove and guitar riff.
Yep.
The leads are atmospheric and add to the ominous vibe of the song. And we get some tasty use of the wah effect on guitar. Cool solo. And then we get this great breakdown where we hear Tracy's theremin, which is, if you don't know, it's an electronic musical instrument controlled without physical contact by the performer. And it was invented in 1928. Most famously used by Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin. If you look at their movie, the song remains the same. During Whole Lotta Love, it's sort of this little box with an antenna. And just when you move your hand back and forth closer or further away from the antenna, it will make a different pitch sound. It's pretty wild to listen to.
Used
Yeah.
in Star Trek, I believe, also.
Possibly. I'm not a
Yep.
Trekker. So we get back into the song. At the end, they sort of turn the riff around, which is a nice twist too.
Yeah. Lisa, what you think?
So, for some reason in my memory, this was the first song on side 2. It's not, but in my head it was. I don't know where I got that from. So we have a fade in opening. There's a really deep vocal mix, not just on the opening vocals, but through the whole song behind the word malaria. Did you
Yep.
hear that? Like so deep. I don't know if that's Phil's voice or
Yeah, they mixed in an overdub. Somebody did it. You know,
Yeah.
just oh wow, yeah, I love that. I love the wah wah guitar, the chorus effect, and it's not just the wah wah. There's like echoes on this. There's like a layer of just stuff over it, which
Oh,
is
yeah.
great. So this, and like Des mentioned, this is very different than the other songs. Every song is very different, and actually, one of the reasons that this album was so critically acclaimed was because they showed this wide range of things that they could do. So it's a good example of that. Interesting lyrics on this song. Somewhere from another time, Asiatic death, yellow fever, bodies writhe, sugar on my breath.
I
That
love
does
it.
not sound like glam vocals, does it? I mean,
No.
glam lyrics? No, it's deep and
a
interesting.
little more interesting. Yeah.
LA
Yeah.
Guns was more serious than a
They're
lot
more
of the other
serious.
bands. They were.
Yeah. I like how this is a slower tempo without being a ballad. It's very smooth, very sexy. The lyrics are strung together with a really interesting melodic pathway that's unexpected. How many licks can Tracy fit into these lines? It's like everything that Phil says, Tracy's guitar has an answer for it. It's just wild.
Yeah.
So. We get a nice dark solo from Tracy, minor chords and more echoes, and it fades out with a small but effective bass behind it, I think. We get an atmospheric bridge which brings in some gang sustained vocals, or maybe it's layered vocals from Phil. I can't tell if it's like many versions of Phil or if it's other people, but it sounds really cool. We get a percussion break, bringing us into the next part of the song. Definitely a different arrangement than any of the other songs on the album, and I'm here for it. This one has an official video, opens with fans cheering while waiting in line for the show, goes into some raw concert footage of the band looking ultra cool as usual. The live footage is interspersed with backstage clips, giving you the feeling that you're hanging out with the band. Phil looks great in the red duster with matching bandana. How much cooler can you get? While Tracy has the shorter haircut in this with the shaved sides, and looking very different than previous videos. And the video actually focuses mostly on Tracy, it seems like. So, yeah, pretty cool.
I noticed that Tracy didn't use quite as much wah pedal on this album as he did on the first album, which I thought was cool. Kind of changed it up a little bit. Track number 7, speaking of the haircut. So let me start by saying, this is the Ballad of Jane. Let me start by saying the first time I saw this video, Tracy Guns broke my heart with that haircut. Okay?
Really? I
Well,
kind
yeah.
of like it.
No,
It makes him stand out.
It's a cool haircut, and he had it like, 50s greaser style, and
Yeah.
it was cool. Like, it's fine. But I mean, at the time when I saw this video, I had long black sticky hair, and that's what I loved. And I loved Tracy Guns' fucking Nikki Sixx hairdo. So
Yeah.
it kind of was shocking. We hadn't seen this yet, really.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say was he was definitely ahead of the curve. Tracy Guns was a smart guy. He saw what was coming, and he saw that metal was slowly dying out, and hair metal, I should say, was slowly dying out. And he got the haircut. Like, he was trying to keep LA Guns relevant and cutting edge and ahead of the curve. And he did. The only problem is the rest of the band didn't. So, unfortunately, they were unable to make that transition over into something more like an Alice in Chains or something that would have kept them relevant. But I have to tip my hat to him. He was a smart dude, and he said it's time to shake it up. Steve Riley, he lays down this, the only way I can describe it is like a really warm drum track. It's very easy to listen to. It's soft. It's got a nice, just warm tone to it. And it's nice for the song to be layered on top of it. Tracy and Mick, and I use Mick loosely, fill this track up with some really nice guitar tracks. Never goes over the top the way CC DeVille would have done it, with the solo. It could have got out of control. Phil brings really, really nice vocals. They're backed up by some like silky smooth, like synth keyboard shit. And the song doesn't fade out. I love this song. I think it's fucking great. Dave.
A gorgeous multi-layered acoustic guitar in what might be one of the best power ballads, my favorite anyway. The music is not overly busy and a very tasteful guitar solo. Phil is singing very well here. Great lyrics too, where we have a line that kind of grabbed my attention. Slowly wishes turn to sadness. The video is very well made, having the band play in an old timey garden, or maybe it's Griffith Park in LA or something like that. We talked about it a little bit. Tracy had famously cut his long hair right before this video was shot. This was the debut of his shorter hairstyle, going against the former big hair trend, like he said, sort of shaking it up a little bit. In a video interview on YouTube with VRP Rocks recently, Tracy Guns revealed that he did not want to include the Ballad of Jane on this record. He explains this explosive headline with the fact that he wanted to save it for later and felt the other songs that would be on this album were strong enough to carry it. He knew this one was going to be a smash. He also feared sort of becoming a pop band and losing their heavy metal roots. And then we have Phil from that Metal Sludge interview that we talked about before. He says, this is a little complicated. It's not about Jane Mansfield like a lot of people think. Jane is an anonymous character who, kind of like myself, ended up in the creative pool of Hollywood. She just sort of got swirled into it, but wasn't quite as lucky as I was. A big person from a little town. It's tragic.
Yeah, it's fucking Jane. It's fucking Perry Farrell's fucking girlfriend. Okay,
What happened to Jane?
I know, that's what I like to think anyway. I can see Dave listening to this song. The girl left him. She's off to fucking Nashville to become a star. He's drinking his Mountain Dew with vodka, smoking a Marlboro Red. Ballad of Jane. Lisa, Ballad of Jane. Is it a great power ballad for you?
One of the best power ballads of all time.
Okay.
So as Dave mentioned, some reports say that this song was written about Jane Mansfield, that Kelly and Phil wrote it together about her. If you don't know about her, go watch some documentaries. We recently saw one about her beautiful pink palace, which was recently torn down to the ground, leaving only the famous gate with her initials on it. Although by now, since we've seen that documentary, the gate is probably gone as well. Very sad, as that was just a landmark in Hollywood. Kelly claims he was thinking about Mansfield in an interview, but Phil says there's no Jane, that it was just an exercise on songwriting. He wrote it with Kelly and Mick, and they had some of the lyrics. They had What a Shame. They had that part. And he couldn't remember who came up with the next line. What happened to Jane? They were trying all sorts of rhymes like going down the drain or going insane. Thankfully, they found the Jane line. Yeah.
So somebody pulled the bacon out of the fire at the last minute.
Yeah.
Hard lard.
But, like that's what they did. They were just writing a song together, throwing stuff together, and they were masters of this. And when they finally finished it, it was good, right? You don't start and just write every line naturally. It comes together over time. So yeah. I heard again that I think it might have been the same interview that Dave heard from Tracy Guns, that he didn't want it on the album. He wanted to stay sleazy, rock, and punk, and maybe even go harder, which we've talked about how he wanted to go harder with the band. He thought they already had enough hits on the album. He said it would change their fan base. People no longer wanted their heavy music. They were waiting for the ballad. It kind of broke the vision that he had of the band, and he didn't like the band's direction, and it was changing too much for him. He felt the other members weren't behind him, except Phil, who he says always had his back. He was looking for longevity, but so were the other members in their own way. He comments that he still loves playing it, unlike some bands that are sick of playing their big hit, but he's happy that they can be career musicians, partially because they wrote this amazing timeless song that has lasted all these years. They do evolve the song. They play it in different ways, including a calypso version now live and a hardcore version, which he played with I want to call it the band Killing Machine, but the project or whatever it was, Killing Machine, which is also great. But again, it is not about Jane Mansfield.
It's
Yeah.
interesting. I always thought it was James Manfield. That's what I had heard.
Yeah. Well, Kelly has said that that's who he was thinking about when he wrote it, but the other guys say no.
So
Yeah.
kind of, but not.
Kind of, but not. But we get a beautiful acoustic opening. Phil's voice, the isolated melodic opening, is a beautiful first verse. I know every single word to this song. I think everybody does. I've had some weird experiences with this song back in the day. I played this song a lot, as in I played it on instruments and actually sang this song once in a cover band. I was awful.
I don't
Um,
believe it.
I've actually had people say that this song reminds them of me because of how much I used to play it back in the day over and over again. I don't know why, but some of the lyrics, because I'm good at disappearing, as if I no longer exist, and I've done that a lot. So I think people were like, "Oh, what happened to her? She's gone. She's gone away." Yeah, so that's a huge compliment for me. I love the vocal layering on this song. I love that line. Now she's breaking hearts in heaven. Very sad. Yeah, so we never really get a resolution about what happened to Jane. Just kind of like but like what happened to her? How did she end up that way? It's not really, the full story isn't told. I love how it's basically just acoustic on this song until the guitar solo comes in, and the solo is electric, right? So
Yep.
like
Yeah.
most of the song is acoustic. It's really nice, and it doesn't take away from the feel of the song to bring in that loud electric. It works like perfectly with it. This song is considered one of the band's biggest hits. It reached number 33 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 25 on the mainstream chart. That's pretty good for a power ballad. Sometimes I've read articles about this band saying that this band is a one-hit wonder because of this song, and I completely disagree with that because
Yeah,
they
no
had
way.
tons of hits.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, and tons of bands play their songs. Of course, as we mentioned, Dave's band Gypsy Freaks plays several of their songs, and Dave rips every one of the solos. This one obviously has a video. It was a huge hit at the time. We start with a cool scene by a pool with Tracy in a rad top hat with a string a quintet playing behind them. Forgot to mention on the track, the strings sound real, not like synth, which is nice. Not sure if that's true or not, but even if it's synth, it sounds freaking great to me.
Yep.
We do see Jane in the video. She is a gorgeous gothy brunette, so love that.
She is.
We get Phil singing with the Roses. It's a very romantic video with a very romantic set. Subdued, no audience here. It's nice that there's not a cliche band sitting in a practice room with singers sitting on a box with a microphone and candles lit. We don't have that, thank goodness. This is much more of a rich setting with jewel tone colors against the blue of the pool water. It's very striking compared to other videos of the time.
Yeah, it's a good one. Right, so that's it. That ends side A. So if you were listening to the album on vinyl, flip it over, slap it in the ass, and let's do the other side. So we're going to go into our new segment. Should they have made it? And Lisa, you chose the Glamour Punks for
I
us
did.
to watch, and the
Yep.
video was video nasty. Okay, so obviously these guys, very young and hungry, down on the strip, Hollywood, California, they were wild kids. They fought a lot. Everybody on the strip knew who they were. They fucking drew big crowds. A little rough around the edges musically as musicians. But I think with a good producer to help refine the songs and their sound, there was definitely a niche for these guys. And I say that. It's a niche for these guys. They were never going to be Poison or anything like that. No, of course not. They looked absolutely amazing. Amazing. These guys had like 100-watt look. Killer. Like 5 Nikki Sixes. I mean, but with different things going on. Like so good. They had blazing stage presence. These guys put on a murderer show. And they had building blocks for catchy pop punk songs. They weren't refined yet. The songs were not, they weren't in their finished states. But if you listen to all of them, just another day in the death of it, just another day in the death. These are great punk songs.
They are.
I think they could have gotten to the level of a band like Rancid on the high end. Like if they had really popped and took off and got the MTV play. I think they could have been like Rancid, Cherry Soho, that type deal. And I think on the lower end, if they had got picked up by a label, but it just didn't really catch on, they could have been like Pretty Boy Floyd, and again, they're way more like Rancid than Pretty Boy Floyd, but I'm
They're
just trying to
edgier,
say,
yeah.
yeah, but I'm not comparing them to Pretty Boy Floyd. I'm just saying that's the level of success I think they would have found on the low end of the spectrum. So yes, I think they should have made it. As far as the song, it's cool. It's raw. It's got a decent hook. And I'm sure if recorded in a good studio with a good producer that could have helped them finish writing it, it could have been molded into a marketable fucking product for the masses. So yeah, I think the Glamour Punks probably had a spot in the music industry. Dave, what do you think?
I looked him up on YouTube. According to Glam Dog 69 on YouTube, the Glamour Punks was a glam punk band from Hollywood, California that was formed in the late 80s, early 90s by vocalist Mandy. Even though they was hot on the strip, they never achieved
That's a quote.
That's their language, not mine.
Yep.
They never achieved a recording deal and was later killed by the upcoming grunge scene.
Yep.
The band never officially released an album, but put out plenty of demos.
Yeah, they did, though. They did eventually do the album.
Yeah. So I listened to a recording off an album called One Sick Posse from
Yes.
Ditto Music, a different video, different person than Glam Dog 69. Song sounds pretty good, but the guitars are out of tune. And the singer sounded like he was putting on a fake British accent. But the song would be pretty good if they had a better recording. I also watched a live video from 1991 uploaded by user Sunset Strip from the Whiskey in LA. The band looks cool, big hair, Les Paul guitars, and they also have a random guy on stage in a straitjacket singing backup vocals.
Yep.
So
And
that
he used
was
to stage dive in that
Yep.
straitjacket into the crowd.
Ooh,
Yeah.
okay.
Before they
That
put
was
him in a cage.
Yes.
nice. So their own little gimp.
Yeah, he was
Sweet.
cool. He had fucking green hair with black eyes, and it was so cool, man.
So yeah, that was an unusual step. So, do you want to be my video nasty? I'll give this one 60.
I want to be your video star.
I'll give this
Everyone
one
love that.
68.7 watts.
And should they have made it, Dave?
Yes.
Okay, Lisa, Glamour
Do you-
Punks.
Do you have a score, Des, on that?
On the song itself, I had trouble scoring this just because, like you said, it wasn't a record. It's a live thing. On the song itself, I would say, as it is, 69, dude.
All right.
Lisa.
Okay, so obviously I picked these guys because I absolutely love them. They were the first and definitely the most dangerous glam punk outfit to rule Hollywood's famous Sunset Strip. That's right, from their Facebook
Yep.
page.
It's true.
Every one of their shows was absolute mayhem. The crowds would go insane. They would sell out their venues. I still don't understand why they didn't go anywhere and why there wasn't some money put up behind them. They were angry punk, but they were glammed up. They were dirtier than Poison, angrier than Enough's Enough, and sleazier than Motley Crue, but different enough that they weren't the same as anyone else. I do love this song, but again, I feel like I pulled a Des. I think I might have picked the wrong song. Probably should have done Hated by a Million, Loved by All.
Yeah,
But I love this song too, and they have a whole bunch of great songs.
they do.
The band still has people post their old flyers online in some memory groups for the Sunset Strip and for their band. They still have an active Facebook page where you can see lots of nostalgia from the band. They looked incredible. For me, this was the epitome of like trash glam punk. I spent an extended time in Hollywood, but I never lived there and I never got to see this band live. I was just swept up by the demos that we got our hands on later. There was a post in April from Filthy Rich, who played with Sheer Lust with Spaz in pre-Glamour Punks, is currently in a band with Billy Blade from Peppermint Creeps, who I think we will have to cover in a future segment.
We definitely will with Tracy and
Yep.
fucking, yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of old candid photos you can find on Facebook of them, shared by friends and fans, and lots of unpublished stuff. They bring up memories, like with Peppermint Creeps and Queenie Blast Pop and
Yep.
Gutter Sluts and all of those bands. Yeah, you can't. They have 2 albums that they did record later, 2011, 2012, Fake the Punk and One Sick Posse, that you can buy on the Demon Dolls website. And one has a special cover. These are not the demos we had back in the day. They're completely re-recorded, same songs, but they definitely are cleaned up. So so yeah, and we did lose one of the original members of the band along the way.
3 of them,
Oh
actually.
yeah, and Punk Rock Dave I think is gone,
No,
and
4 of them, man.
yeah, Punk Rock Dave is gone. Yeah, so but there lots of people remember them and post footage of them. Yeah, so I'm gonna give them. I picked the wrong song. Had I picked maybe Hated by Millions, or I probably would have given them more like a 95. I'm gonna give them an 85 because in my fault I picked the wrong song. But shout out to a Boston-based band called Touch Me Hooker,
No, 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 no,
who
no.
had a similar look and
Which
actually styled themselves, I believe, after this band.
very much
But
so.
who Des said he would kill me if I picked this band for this segment. But yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can find their videos on YouTube as well.
Yeah, that's my old band, so
I
there
still
you
hold out hope for a reunion, but you guys probably never will.
go. Well, thank you, Lisa. I'm glad that you enjoyed my ripoff of the Glamour Punks.
Loved it, loved it,
But
loved it.
okay, yeah, so they should have made it, correct?
They should have made it. We've
Okay.
got a total score now of 74.23, which just edges them into the #1 spot, just barely over Back
Back
Alley Sally.
Yeah, Back
So
Alley Sally's better. So, yeah, so we did lose the bass player. We did lose, I believe, both. I know we lost Jason Farmer, and I believe we also lost the other guitar player as well. So, I think it's just Mandy and maybe the original drummer that are still
yeah,
going. Jason, and I took this off of last week's show because I wanted to save it for this week. So Jason was such an awesome dude. He was the guitar player. He was Skits, correct?
yeah, Skits.
And
Yeah.
Jason Farmer's his real name. Just this guy was so talented and just such a charismatic guy. He passed away a few years back, and we had actually started just kind of talking back and forth on Messenger. Nothing big, but we knew each other from the New York City scene. He was there at the same time I was with the original bass player of the Glamour Punks, Stacy Chemical. So him and Stacy were out there in New York, and I was out there in New York. I was playing with a band called Sable Sex.
Nice.
All right.
And Jason was playing with the Love Tribe, which was the biggest band in the village at the time. And I just want to say that just shows, Jason went out to Hollywood. He became the guitar player of one of the biggest bands on the Strip and was a complete hero on the Strip in LA. And then when that shut down, he went to New York and he fucking did it again. So that just shows you how cool Jason was. And also just a really, really genuinely nice person. And he will be missed. And yeah, I wish I got to know him more than I did. Just somebody I guess I would see at the scrap bar and stuff like that down in there. We never really spoke in the day. And then, becoming friends on Facebook and then just chatting a couple of times on Messenger, just talking about, our time in New York and, how he had, knew about the band I was in, and I knew about the band he was in, and how we're both, black hair, big nose, fucking rockers. So yeah, good stuff. Good memories there. So Glamour Punks, go check it out, guys. Okay. So Dave, we're going to hold off on what the next one's going to be till the end of the show. We're not going to say it now, or do you want to tell them now?
We can wait till the end.
Okay. So track 8 is the second side, first song. Magdalene.
Magdalene.
Magdalene. Again, this song opens with its own identity here. And the second half of this album really, it starts to change a lot. Like it really just blossoms into all sorts of different things. It opens up with its own identity. There are so many different flavors on this album, and that's the charm for me. Phil gives a really nice performance on this song with some really nice harmonies. And we don't get a ton of harmonies from Phil Lewis on this album, and you get them here. You get the highs, and I really, really like it. We get another classic Tracy Guns guitar solo, and the song ends just as it starts. I love that. I love that we get the same ending as the intro. I only wish that they had done it and then given us a stick ending instead of fading it out. So it was really just like its own stamp. Like, here's the beginning of the song again. But yeah, great song. Dave.
Great opening to the second side. Exotic and mysterious sounding. Here's that electric sitar that Tracy was credited with playing. Nice and speedy when the band kicks in. And cool bridge with the vocal ahs. Simple, but sounds super cool. Awesome guitar solo as usual. First part is mellow and then kicks into overdrive. And then after the fast part, there's almost a flamenco or like Spanish gypsy feel to what he's playing. Not necessarily a hit song, but super cool album track. And definitely sets a mood.
So the wife just texted me from downstairs. She's downstairs doing some housework, and she says, "I'm listening to the Cocked and Loaded album while I'm doing housework. What a classic, kick-ass album!" So shout out to the wife. She loves this album. Her and I have always bonded over LA Guns. It's been a band that we've kind of loved together and seen together several times, and brought us back together. So there you go, Lisa.
So this song was wildly critically acclaimed. Looking back at this song, it showed the band's progressive side, very different than the rest of the album. Just every song has a unique identity. Beginning of this song sounds like the ending, spoiler, because I already know that. But I like the dark bells, a little bit metal, but it goes into music that sounds like probably the most produced album on this album. Very clean compared to the other songs that are a little more sleazy. This one maybe a little more radio ready. Lyrics are very beautiful here. In sleep, velvet veil, on dream, crystal potions, behind silken sails, cold marble laughter is taking my mind. Like, wow.
It's so good.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like Dave, I'm mentioning the vocal Oz, the gang vocal, which is super cool. We get a guitar solo here that slows down the song and brings it to a tempo that could have almost made it into a power ballad, but thankfully didn't, because I like the identity that it has.
Yeah.
What I've always said, like the solos are too short, but in this one we get a solo that kind of goes into a bridge and just like another shredding part. I feel like they finally let him play longer and they didn't fade him out. We finally got the solo that I was waiting for. They just kind of let him go. The song is over 6 minutes, and I'm thankful because I think a lot of that extra time was given to Tracy, which I think is exactly what I wanted there. Cool lyrics, and Phil hits some great high notes and doesn't even strain to reach them. I just love his vocal tone in this song. In my head, this song had a video, but actually it doesn't. So I don't know why I remember that, but
should have had a video.
Yeah, I would have liked a video on this one.
So Lisa, you saw Alien for the first time?
I did.
The original 1979 Alien.
Yeah.
And you listened to the podcast
I
for
did.
the Alien. What did you think
Yes.
of the podcast? Did we get it right?
I don't have any feelings from back in the day from this, so I think I didn't enjoy it as much as you guys did and think it was classic. I get the fact that there's some scenes in there that are really just movie staples that have been done over and over again because they were the originators of it. I get that.
Yeah.
But it was so slow and they just futzed around on that ship for so long, just trying to find this thing. And, the freaking Geiger alien was just beautiful. I wanted to see more of it. I get it. They were trying to hide it like they hid Jaws, but I wanted more. It wasn't as good as I expected it to be with how much everybody loves it. So
Yeah, that was the hole in the movie for me as well, as I just wanted more of the Alien. It was fine.
Yeah.
Dave, Alien. Did you love Alien?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's a little slow, but I told Lisa that she'll probably like the future movies in
Yes.
the franchise. I'm more of a fan of the second one, the Aliens.
Me too.
And because there's just more action.
Me too. But you got to watch the first one to set the flavor. It's the appetizer.
I did like that they allowed the woman to be the heroine, which back then was not a common thing.
Nope.
Yeah,
But
that
you
was
know what I mean?
kind of revolutionary.
Yeah,
at
it
the
really
time.
was. So.
I just wish they could have got those underwear a little smaller.
Oh my God. I've never laughed at a segment so much in my life than you talking about the tiny little panties. Like,
And my
yuck, by the way, yuck.
fetish, and my fetish for a good bush.
Dylan was horrified.
Dylan was so high on it.
Horrified.
I don't even know what happened there. Oh shit!
Yuck,
So, yeah.
Des, yuck.
Yes, if you got, come on, to the listeners out there, if you like a good bush, go over to Hey, Did You Ever See That Movie and listen to our breakdown of the 1979 Alien movie. You won't be disappointed. It was a lot of fun. And like and subscribe to the channel. Okay, track number 9, Give a Little. So here we go. Here's the hole in the album. This is what's going to keep it from being a perfect album for me. Here we get the riff for Ragdoll from Aerosmith. I mean, it just is. Sorry. My favorite part of the song is the solo section. Starts with a ripping harp into Tracy doing his thing. I like the song. I do. I like the song, but it feels like the redheaded stepchild filler track. With an album with this many tracks on it, just didn't need to be there. They didn't need to put it on the album. And this is one of those times where an okay song hurts a great album. Dave, do you agree?
I can see your point of view on that. I like the song, but it's definitely not one of the big hits. Sweet drum groove to start this one. Killer riff and
Yes.
groove. I hear Joe Perry in there. I even hear a little, Steve Vai in some of the runs.
Dude, I didn't get that into my notes. Dude, that lick he plays is so fucking good.
Yeah, and it's just sort of out of nowhere. It's almost out of place.
It is out
like
of place.
how shreddy.
It's virtuoso Steve Vai guitar playing. I don't even know where it came from. It's so cool. I'm so glad you brought that up.
It all that doesn't sound like it should work together, but somehow it works together. We get some Harmonica from Hell by Kelly Nichols, and double track guitar solo is your Randy Rhoads influence popping in there. That's what's great about Tracy's playing is, he's not doing crazy stuff from another planet. He's taking a great mix of older influences like Eddie Van Halen and Jimmy Page and Randy Rhoads, and just putting it into really cool songs. This song was too short. I could have listened to this for another couple minutes.
You forgot to put Steve Vai on that list of guitar players. I can't believe that was Kelly Nichols playing that harp solo, because that solo was so good. For a second, I thought it was a guitar solo. I'm like, what? I thought it was a harp solo. I'm like, oh, it is a harp solo. That's got to be a studio musician, because that is not your average Vince Neil guitar harmonica solo. It's really good.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's really good. Lisa, this song on the album or off the album?
I disagree with you completely. I love the guitar lick in the beginning. I love the sleazy way the blues lyrics come in almost immediately. We're back to the sleaze again, which I love. Great hook on this song. The give a little love. Yeah, give a little love to your baby.
All right, all
Give a
right.
little love to your man. Love it. Love it. We hear Phil's vocal delivery like a shotgun. It reminds me a little bit about, how Tammy can shotgun those lyrics and still have them readable. I love the bridge on this song with the horns that leads into Tracy's like crazy dirty solo here. Perfect for the song. Takes it into a different key, gives it a little shredding, but also keeps the blues at the same time, which is really hard to do. I love how he always finds a different way, as Phil, to talk about admiring a woman. Nice blues outro. An interesting note is this song was wildly critically acclaimed back in the day. Maybe not a fan favorite, but it's mentioned as one of the ways that the band can be flexible and progressive.
My bad. I love. You can tell Dave's a sound guy, because when he decided to go Ken Tamplin and sing for us just now, you noticed that he sang into his bottle to get a little reverb.
Did, yeah, he did.
I heard that. Put a little fucking natural reverb on that. Okay, track number 10. I'm addicted. What is not to like here? Great drums, great bass. Tracy being Tracy while breaking in his new wah wah pedal. And let's not forget this reverse reverb on the snare. I mean, obviously he's going for a Jimi Hendrix thing here, and I fucking love it. Fucking go, give it to me, man. This was a great fucking little thing by Tracy. Dave, as a guitar player, did you appreciate it?
Oh yeah, I like this one. I mentioned the Hendrix influence with this guitar solo track. I love it. I don't know if it's necessary on the album, but it is a nice palate cleanser in between tracks. Steve and Kelly do a great job on drums and bass, flowing nicely through the track. We get some backwards effects at the end, and it's all over just under 2 minutes.
I think one of the most impressive things about this album is one, you really got your money's worth when you went to go buy this thing. Like, there's a lot of content on this. And usually when you get this many tracks on an album, you're going to get a bunch of fucking dogs.
Clunkers.
And
Yeah.
you really don't on this album. We're at track 11, and I've only had a little bit of negative things to say about the last song. And I said, if you listen back, I like it. I like it. So, wow. Lisa.
So I didn't find a lot of info on this song about like where it originated or why they named it the way they did, but I think the title's perfect because I'm addicted to Tracy's playing.
Me too.
I love the opening of the song. I like that the bass line cuts through and continues strong through the entire thing. Obviously, this is a musical interlude. Tracy just basically goes mad. It's a 2-minute long guitar solo, which is what I've been waiting for. They keep fading him out on all the songs, right? So I've been waiting for him to just have space to go wild and do what he wants to do, and this is the space for it. He wasn't limited by song arrangement or by time constraints or anything. He just kind of went through it. Nice effects at the end, like the song is collapsing at the end in a practice room. So,
Yeah, what a great visual. I can see that in a practice room. Fucking stinks like cigarettes. Okay, 17 Crash, track 11. Oh, one of my favorite songs on the album. I fucking love this song. It is such sleazy goodness. This is like if that was that Food Network show, like the best thing I ever ate. Like, this is sleazy goodness. It has great lyrics, great vocals. It has sleazy grooves, great guitars and bass. It has a great chorus. And I'm not sure, Dave, is this a flange they're using to bring in this 17 Crash? Oh,
Maybe it might be backwards reverb or something like that.
yeah, whatever the fuck it is, man. It without it, the chorus isn't as good. Like this, the way they bring in this fucking 17 Crash line, whoo, gets me every time. I love this track. Dave.
Yeah, really gnarly guitar tone on this one.
Yeah.
I love the intro, the "Hello Baby," crashing in intro, very evil sounding. Cool song, and we get some cowbell under the guitar solo too. A few occasional bass fills, and the song ends with a sweet guitar dive bomb. Awesome.
Boo, Lisa.
I love the "Hello, baby" in the
Yeah.
beginning.
It's
He says
David
"baby"
Lee
a
Roth.
lot in this song, and I'm still okay with it. So,
Sure.
I love the sleazy guitar riffs in the opening. I like how the song moves between the slower sleazy tempos in the verses and the faster tempo in the chorus with the gang vocals. I like that. The transition takes place over and over in the song, so it makes it a nice arrangement. The lyrics are pure 80s cheese in a great way. Just a fun song about a fun topic, picking up girls and having fun experiences with an X. If you read the lyrics, like you go and read the lyrics on a lyrics, it looks like he's writing like we text today. Texting didn't exist back when this song was written. So, like experiences or using numbers instead of like spelling words out. I love that. Great guitar solo that has a sleazy part and a transition in itself, giving the song like a real dynamic change. The drums come through so strong on this, especially since the song is a little thinner than some of the others. I don't get that like rich dual guitar all the way through here. And that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying that I can really hear the drums because of that. I like the dive bomb ending with the echo repeater. So, yeah.
Good stuff. Track number 12, Showdown, Riot on Sunset. So we get another killer track here. We get what sounds to me like a fake brass section. I did not think these horns sounded very good. They're fine. I love brass, and it gives the album again just another flavor, another ingredient. It keeps this album from ever getting boring and blending together. So I like the choice to put it here. I just wish they sounded a little bit brassier. Phil brings some cool lyrics and vocals. Steve dusts off his cowbell for this one. We're going to get some nice cowbell on it. Song has some really strong sections that make it work for me, especially the guitar groove in the verses. For me, that is the hook of the song. I really like it. Dave.
This is a sleazy one. Might be a little on the poppy side production wise. Like you mentioned, we get some horn section or synth mixed in, but the song is really cool anyway. The riff right after the solo almost sounds a little bit like Kicks to me. That's a good thing, but a really cool song. I like it.
Yeah, Lisa.
Um, this song, I don't know how you guys feel about this. It sounds a little bit more like the first album to me than some of the other songs. Sleazier, bluesier. The lyrics are short and effective, and they fit nicely with the cadence of the song. I love the chorus; it's so catchy. I love the gang vocals. This is one where you don't hear. This is one you don't hear repeatedly. You don't usually hear this song covered. It's not usually mentioned. I don't know why. I really like this. I would love to see a cover band play this song. I think it would be fun. We get a great solo from Tracy again. He has just been unleashed in the past few songs here. Finally, as the album is wrapping up, I like the horns running through the song. I think they're synth, but it works to fill out the song, which is makes it nice and full. I love how he talks in the song. Nice, common glam musical trick at the time, almost like he's talking to the band. It's pretty cool. I like the nice stick ending. The lyrics for this song online, if you read them, are wrong, I think, compared to what he says in the recording. So check that out. I think there's a couple lines like combat zone, which is something, comes out something else. But yeah, it's weird. They don't quite match. So somebody needs to fix that.
Get in there and fix that.
Noticed a few inconsistencies when I was following along.
Yeah.
With the lyrics, but
Track number 13, Wheels of Fire. So this song's interesting for me. This song is very, very, very unusual, and that's why I like it. That's why I like it here. It sounds different than everything else on the album. I really love the guitar sounds in this intro and in the verses. He has the same sound in these two sections of the song that, again, really just make the song what it is. I noticed Kelly and Steve, they're totally locked in on this track. It's a great rhythm section here. This is not my favorite bridge chorus combination on the album, but it's good. And the intro and the verse are so damn good that the slightly weaker bridge and chorus don't bother me because I'm here for this verse and I'm here for this intro. Then we get this really, really creative solo section. Check that out if you haven't heard the album in a while. It's really cool. I enjoyed the track very much. Dave?
I like the drum beat and the echoey guitar riff. The rhythm almost becomes hypnotic. I hear a little Aerosmith influence, maybe. Guitar solo is on fire. Lots of feel and stereo panning in that mix. I like it.
Yeah, no doubt. Lisa, second to last track on the album. What'd you think of this one?
Good baseline opening with some guitar effects from Tracy and Mick, I believe, on this one. Good strong lyrics on this song. We got a story. I like how the chorus is almost like another verse. It's so complex. And the hook is really just the last two lines of the chorus where you get the innocence fuels my desire, wills of fire. But like the whole thing is almost like you get a bonus verse in the song because it's so complex. The vocal line that leads into the guitar solo, there's a battle there going on with Phil's sustained note and the beginning of Tracy's solo, where they're kind of battling for front in the production. But we get into Tracy's solo and it's like, oh my God, like, wow, that is amazing. I love how Phil takes the last chorus up an octave from the other choruses. So we hear some of those higher register notes from him and it gives it a dynamic change. It's catchy and fun while having a dark edge.
And finally, the last song on the album, and this is how you do it. Track 14, I Want to Be Your Man. This is one of my favorite LA Guns songs. I fucking love it. This is how you close out a killer bombshell of an album. Great intro, great verses and lyrics, a great bridge, and finally this killer chorus. I love the message of the song. I just love everything about it. And the band sticks the ending here. They stick the ending, and it's a great ending to the song. It all just works for me. Dave, what did you think of this for the final song on the album?
This is not the Beatles song.
No.
I love this one. I read an interview with Tracy years ago that indicated he didn't like this song, and which I never got. I mean, this is one of the best songs on the record to me.
Me too.
killer riff, very cool sounding. Lyrics have a lot of good stuff here. Like fire and water, rolling dice. I'm going to get you no matter the price. And then my favorite, look in the mirror, what I see the devil, and he's looking at me. It's so good. Awesome guitar solo as usual. Lots of Tracy Gunn's signature guitar licks in there.
Yeah, dude, that bridge. I'm a hard man to find. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Lisa, final track on the album. Is this Money or what?
My God, here we freaking go. This is a hot opening with Phil's almost speaking voice dripping with sex. Lots of bands cover this song. Almost none get those first lines right. This immediately screams hit to me right from the first note. I like that this song is from a different perspective, where most songs are basically like women, men just gathering women like their property, and this one is like a guy being like, "Hey, I want to be with you." It's like cool.
Yeah, I want to be your man.
Yeah,
It's so good.
so good. The opening riff gets repeated in the song, creating a great, almost dead air piece in the middle. How does this band like stay so sexy? This song is just fantastic. I could listen to it over and over and over again. This one has an official video. We get Phil in this golden palace to open the view. So much rich color in their videos. He's in this green sparkly blouse against the black hair. Oh my God.
It's a cool video.
It is the coolest look I've ever seen.
It is.
And then there's lots of women behind them in the video. Every single one of them has a giant hair. It's amazing. I love it. There's golden light pouring on the band. Tracy's playing his solo with his foot up on the banquet table. Just like there's like a staircase, and the band is, kind of arranged on the staircase. And then everything starts exploding. and then Phil comes back dressed head to toe in black like a goth god. And at the end, you get this close up with his sparkling eyes. Just freaking.
Yeah, all you're missing here is a hookah smoking caterpillar. I mean, come on.
I love it.
Good. Awesome. All right, guys. So there you go. We have broken down LA Guns, cocked and loaded for you. I hope you guys enjoyed the discussion. Let's give us some favorite songs, play some members. We will score the album and we will log this thing. So my favorite song, it's going to be one of three. I mean, it's either Rip and Tear, Never Enough, or I Want to Be Your Man. Take your pick. But I wrote down Rip and Tear because it's Rip and Tear. What song I would cut? Obviously, Give a Little. It didn't need to be on the album. It was fine. I would replace Steve Riley, and I would replace him with one Patrick Mozingo from Junkyard. He had the long, straight black hair. He had the big snare sound. I think he would have fit right into this band.
That's a good choice.
Thank you. Dave.
Favorite track? Too many good ones to pick from. I'm going to skip the hits and go with I Want to Be Your Man. Great vibe.
Yep.
I would cut. There's nothing that needs cutting on this one, but if I have to, I guess we'll cut I'm Addicted, the guitar solo, since we get such a buffet of killer shredding on this album. So if we got to go with it, we'll go with that one. Replace one member of the band. I think you know where I'm going with this. Sorry, Mick Cripps. I'm stepping in here to play second guitar on my favorite album by one of my favorite bands.
I love that this section has become Dave's resume for fucking joining different bands. It's perfect. It's perfect. I love it. Lisa, same questions.
This was really incredibly hard to pick a favorite song on this album, but I'm gonna go with Never Enough with an honorable mention to I Want to Be Your Man.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
I refuse to cut a song on this album. You can't make me.
Okay, that's fine. You don't have to.
I'm just not.
It's fine. It's your podcast. Go ahead.
And there's a lot of lineups in this band that I loved. I love the classic lineup. I even love the lineup that they have today. But I am going to take Mick out and put in Dave. The only problem is that votes. I think that Dave and Tracy would be fighting each other for the lead, and I think there would have been an even more catastrophic ending to this band if the two of them were in a band together.
I get just famously fiery just fired from LA Guns.
Yeah, and the fact that honestly that you
for
weren't
being
in
too flashy.
one of these bands back in the day, he's an amazing guitar player. He will tell you that he's not, right? But he
Yeah.
should have been in one of these bands back in the day. His problem was he didn't bother selling himself. He was waiting for them to come to him. That was the
Right.
problem. So
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
We have
Well,
to-
I was a short-haired mama's boy with a bad, you know, didn't pick up all the bad habits until later on.
timing. It was timing. Timing wasn't
Yeah.
on Dave's side. He would have had to
Yeah.
have been born like
and he was younger, yeah.
7
Yeah.
years earlier, so he had time to break the shell
Yeah.
and get all the bad habits. But
Yeah.
that's all right. He's making up for it now, and he's been in some really great bands, so it's all good. All right, let's do some final thoughts. We'll score it and log it. So this is almost a complete album for me. If you remove "Give a Little" and if you shine up the chorus and bridge in "Wheels of Fire," it's almost a perfect album. But as it sits, at least you said I gave the first album 95.
Yeah, 95.1, I think it was.
Okay, so as it sits, this album is pushing 93.5 watts. It's just a hair below the first album. I could probably push them both up a little bit, but since I don't have that power and I have to work behind the 95, this will get a 93.5. Not quite as good as the first one, but still an awesome album in its own right. And anything in the 90s is considered fucking epically good. And just in case any of the old listeners call, fucking Ed and Fee aren't on the show anymore because they had bad. I was joking. Everybody was just out of gas, and that's why they're not on the show anymore. So I don't want anybody writing in about how much you love those guys. I know. Fucking Dave.
This is one of my favorite albums of all time. It does not have the warm, fuzzy guitar sounds of Van Halen, and maybe has a little too much 80s slick polish. I don't care. It rules. Not a bad song on here. This album made me a lifetime LA Guns fan. I'll always be fascinated by the vibe of this time and the mix of glam rock, metal, and vampire darkness. Since I've heard this album, this is exactly the kind of band I've wanted to be in. I love everything about it. 97.5 is my score.
Woo! And you gave the first one 80 something. Interesting. Lisa, take us out.
I mean, what can I say? It's one of my favorite bands of all time. One of the few bands in this genre that I will actively seek out and still listen to. I loved the first album, and I wrestle in my head if I like the first or this one better. I don't know. I think maybe this one better. I don't even know.
No.
I can't pick because they're both like
Come
amazing.
on. Electric Gypsy.
I
Fucking,
I
come
love
on.
it. I love that too. Like how I don't think I can pick. I don't know.
Fair enough.
You know, there was a lot of chaos behind the scenes with this band and all of the different lineups over the year. I do urge everyone to go out and buy Leopard Skin, which is their new album released on April 4th of this year. Also, and go watch the video for Taste It, which tells a story of an older gentleman fan who wins a day with the band, goes to see them play at a bar, and you get, you know, the band looking so cool and Ace with his bubble gum, and they just rip it up in the bar. And at the end of the song, they're like getting ready to say goodbye to the fan, but the fan's like, it's supposed to be the whole day with you guys, and they're all kind of looking at each other like, really? And then you get the to be continued at the bottom. So I'm hoping that they're going to do a series of videos in, you know, a la Cinderella's series of videos back in the day. I think that would be really cool if they do that. They still sound great today. Phil's voice is still on point. We heard them acoustic, you know, not too long ago. Zero effects, standing literally in front of him, and he sounded fantastic. Yeah, so this album is just basically full of memories for me, worn out cassette tapes, so many concerts. You are not going to agree with my score for this album.
No.
It's the highest score I've ever given. I'm giving it a 99.9.
Woo.
Nice.
I like it. That's fine.
And the reason they're not getting 100 is because there's two albums that I think deserve the 100 spot. One that you guys have already done in the previous version of this podcast, and one that we have not done yet.
Which
I
is the
don't
one we
know.
did.
Prince, Purple Rain.
Yeah, that's really good. It probably should have got 100, did it?
It did not.
Oh, it's a fucking
Yeah,
shame.
but that one I think deserves 100, and yeah. So,
Cool.
but like, Prince Purple Rain versus LA Guns Cocked and Loaded, two completely different genres.
Yeah, you
How do
can't.
you really compare them?
You
I
can't.
don't know, but
You can't.
yeah, highest score I've ever given, 99.9.
All right, we'll add them up and let us know where it lands on the list, baby.
Can we assume everybody is a yes on the
Oh,
re-listen?
yeah.
absolutely. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. It's a yes.
Yeah. Okay, on the Violent Vinyl album chart, LA Guns' second studio album, Cocked and Loaded from 1989, got a total score of 96.97, putting it number 2 on our chart,
Whew.
just barely below Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whew. Okay, that's hot. That's a hot take right there.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, so there you go. Next week on our Sisters podcast, hey, did you ever see that movie? We will be reviewing 16 Candles, where I am going to reveal whether Farmer Ted raped Jake's girlfriend in the back of that Rolls Royce or not. Okay. Did we do it? Yeah, I think so. Did you? I think I like. Yeah, I like being raped by little freshmen that I don't know in the back of a car while I have alcohol poisoning.
And why Jake Ryan never acted again after that movie.
Yeah. Oh, hey, you can have her. She won't know the difference. Hey, give her all your
Right.
friends. Yeah, just fucking bring her to the fucking
Easy.
boys' locker room at the hotel. It's fine.
And no one ever thought of it back then.
There's a lot to talk
Nothing.
about in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. Dave, it is
Yes.
your week. So you are going to tell us and the listeners what the homework is for the next 2 weeks.
Okay, so your homework is for our album pick. It's going to be 1983's ZZ Top Eliminator.
It's a fucking good album, man. It's a
Yep.
good album. This one is it perfect? Fuck, I don't know. I have to tune in next time and find out.
Yeah,
Maybe.
And so for the should have made it homework, we're going to look at a band called Rock City Angels with Teenage Lipstick Boys.
I've never heard of them. Are they LA? Where are they? New York?
I'm not 100% sure
I've heard of this.
where they're
Okay.
from, but fun fact, Johnny Depp used to be in that band.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Dave, what's the
I'm gonna
track you
assume
want?
it's LA.
What's the
What's that?
track? What's the track you want us to listen to?
Teenage Lipstick Boys. It's track 1 off of their first album,
Teenage lipstick
Boys.
Boys.
boys. Okay, I got it. All right, awesome. So there you go, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. You got an extra 35 minutes this week for free. If you like the fucking, you get it for free. You're not going to get it every week. So that's it. Until next time, take those albums out of the sleeve and let the music breathe. See you next time.